911 location of your emergency.
Breaking news out of North Idaho. Moscow police are investigating a homicide on King Road.
Is she breathing?
No.
So 5'10", all black. Could you see what color his eyebrows were or anything like that?
No, I don't remember what his eyes look like either.
Officers discovered the bodies of Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Maddie Mogen, and Kaylee Goncalves, but no weapon has been located at this time.
Arrested. That's 28-year-old Bryan Kohberger in custody today.
Kohberger allegedly stalked one of the victims. That's false.
We do not have evidence that the defendant had direct contact with 1122 or with residents of 1122, but we can put his phone in that area. There are many residences in that area. It's a dense population of mostly college-related occupants.
Hey, you guys. How did y'all's holiday weekend go? I hope that it went well and that it was eventful enough, but not too eventful, because usually these days when it's too eventful, it's because something went wrong. So hopefully everybody's 4th went exactly how you wanted it to go. We did our thing. We normally do. Small little town. They have like this little pavilion thing that they do. Fireworks and a live band and like the local food trucks, like the typical little thing. We went out there. The band was really, really good. I'd never heard of them before. They're like a local band. Really impressed with them, actually. So that was nice. Snow cones, all the fun stuff. It was fun. The dogs were okay. Dogs were good. I'm trying to get this to finish. I am working on getting a lot of things from like a super long time ago, recorded. When I first started the channel, I wasn't really screen recording things. When I would talk about stuff, it would be like a little screenshot that I would like pop in. Even the documents would be like page by page screenshotted. I didn't learn all of this other stuff until way later. So I'm going in and getting like old interviews, original stuff like that. Man, oh man. Man, oh man. I will tell you, I did finally find the date where Christy called Kaylee a brat. It was on 11/20 of 22. And it was an over-the-phone interview. It was not where she showed her face. I listened to the full thing. And it was on air, 11/20/22. They were both speaking on the phone. And it's interesting then, the narrative that they were blooming on TV. See, what I'm going in and trying to do is see how long until Steve showed his face because of that whole urgent care thing. You know, first time in a 30-year relationship and he's in urgent care the same morning that their daughter is getting brutally murdered, you know, that whole thing. So I'm trying to see how long until he showed his face. And this is a weekend, and I'm not sure if they showed their face before the 20th, but I know for sure on the 20th, I'm pretty positive that the way that it's labeled is like the first time that they're speaking out. And it's a whole week later and they're still just like on the phone. But that is the one I recorded it like 2 days ago, where she actually, and not just like called Kaylee a brat, but like even made like a really mimicking toned comment while she was at it. Definitely not like the way you would really think that a grieving parent would talk about their kid so early. You know, and like I said, I know everyone grieves differently, but just a week after the murders, and that's the first thing that I hear from you, and that's how you address your child, address talking about your daughter. And then later on down the line, we find out that y'all didn't even leave. Y'all were getting told by family members that something was happening, and y'all didn't even leave. Y'all sat there and didn't go to Moscow and didn't do anything. You just sat there. The whole thing with the family is just so strange. Hold on. Zelda wants out. 1 second. But yeah, I was just glad I found it. And I am trying to get the Amazon Series 1 episodes together so that we could finally go over those the way that I've been wanting to go over those before the Series 2 comes out. Let's see. Hopefully this week, by this weekend, we should be finishing Broken Plea. Cy Ray's book should be here tomorrow. Now, I thought I was going to get my package today. A viewer from overseas sent some stuff over, and I've been tracking it, but I guess they decided to hold off on sending that package until the book got there, because they do this like consolidation thing. If they see that I have something else coming in, they'll wait before they ship me anything so that they can ship everything together if it's in like a 7-day period. So I should be getting the package from her and Cy Ray's book tomorrow, Tuesday. So hopefully by the end of the week, we're done with Broken Plea. We will probably do the next chapter review of Broken Plea, which is going to be the part 3 of the book, which is, I think, where we're getting more into like the Kohberger side of things in the book. We'll probably go ahead and start that Wednesday evening. I will not be going live tomorrow during the day like I normally do on Tuesdays, because Dad's heading back on Wednesday. So we're going to be taking the day to go run around and do stuff tomorrow during the daytime. I don't know if I'm going to go live Tuesday night either. It just really all depends. Plus, you guys know that there's like clip stuff I'm trying to get out. Let's see what else. I emailed Chief Dollinger today. I put that video up. It's real short. It's just letting you guys see what I wrote to him. But in the email, instead of going through the email address that Amber gave me, I went through like the form submitted thing on the Moscow Police Department website. And I just threw like 3 things at him, because I still haven't heard from him when it comes to the 1112 camera problem. So I readdressed that one, and then I said that, what I needed to say about the 108-page timeline that we're being told doesn't exist. Then I gave him some info on that and asked him to clarify that situation. And then I also asked him to clear up the reason why item 40 is listed on the chain of custody as floor 3 south wall of closet, when on everything else, including when it gets transferred anywhere, it's the red spot in the kitchen that was negative for blood. And I said, in Paula Sutton's report, it was already mentioned how there were issues with evidence numbering. Item 40 was not included in that issue. Should it have been? And I'm basically like, if y'all are going to act like this thing doesn't exist, you should want to address this, because there's so many inconsistencies in this thing, and your department's being blamed for them, in part, partially being blamed for them. So, one way or another, somebody needs to say something, because this is just crazy. This is just crazy. Let's see if there's anything else. Not really. Other than I need to show you our new monkeys. Are you ready? These are our old monkeys, okay? These are the monkeys that I took pictures of and then edited to make our logo. Our beautiful monkeys, okay? On Xana's birthday, me and Dad went to Goodwill. We were just in there 2 days before, because Dad goes like every day when he's here. He just thrift store hops, pawn shop hops every day. We were just in there 2 days before that, and this was not in here. Look what I found on Xana's birthday. Our little monkeys, but like little, like are also monkeys, but tiny. Look at them. Look at them. Look at them. They're so cute. Okay. I just want to show you that, because that's really, look, they're so tiny. Oh my God. It was like $3. So tiny. Okay. Let me put these down so they don't get all messed up. Now tonight is going to be the first in what I hope to be something that doesn't get skipped, because there's no reason for it to. Moscow Mondays, which is something that I told you guys about already that I wanted to do, where we go back in to the MPD supplemental reports that were released. It says 315, but with the narrative, it's actually 316. And the narrative is 2 separate parts that we're going to be going over, obviously, separately. So today, we're going to go over the inventory report part of it, the CAD part of it. Basically, it's going to show some sort of narrative from the time that the 911 call came in, with like a brief description off to the side of what was going through the dispatch radio. And then we're going to go through all of the inventory, which means everything is going to have like an evidence number and then an item number. The way that the red spot in the kitchen had an evidence number that ended in, what was it, like 1839, but then it was actually also item 40 and it's listed together that way. That's where that list comes into play. There's also 4 separate incidents on this list that I mentioned to you guys over the past, I don't know, forever now, that I'd wanted to FOIA because it shows that they were related incidents. I FOIA'd those this morning, so when we get to that portion, I'll pull up the FOIA and let you guys see the way that I sent the information in. I haven't looked through the reports themselves yet to see if there's already something in the public reports regarding these 4 incidents. Nothing like popped up into my mind. And nothing really was popping up in the chat when we were talking about it either. So either it's there, we missed it, or it's not there, and it's still, you know, whatever. If it is there, they're going to tell me, oh, it was already released to the public, you know, how they always do. But if it's not, then they should send something, right? So I think there was 4. Yeah, there's 4. And one was just a week after the crime, and it's a welfare check. I think we actually read that report. Like, if I remember correctly, I think that we read that report. I have room temperature water and then cold water, and I need to mix them real quick so that this isn't, like, ridiculous. Okay. I think we read the welfare check report. I could be wrong, but I really do think that we did. We might have. I'm not sure. We'll just see. We'll see what they give us. We'll see what they give us. Okay. But hopefully this is going to be something that we can keep up with. Now, I do know that we do our members only Mondays on the last Monday of the month, but we always end up doing those a little bit early on in the afternoon. So on the Monday where we have a members only live, I'll just make sure that it's like starts around like the 3 o'clock hour, because these will usually probably always start between 7:45 and 8:15, just all depending on what I can do. You know what I mean? Because that's just like my schedule for now. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays are the only days I can do during the week, double lives. But then again, I'm busy tomorrow with Dad in the morning time, so it's just not going to work that way. Oh, hey there, Sharon. Yeah, you have been here for a super, super long time. Thank you for being a member for so long, and thank you for being so supportive of the channel. You're so sweet. Thank you for the 5 Get the Memberships Accomplished Day. They also do a lot of FOIAs. This is also the channel that put that ridiculously detailed timeline together. They have, just click on their thing in the chat so you can go and check on their channel, because they have links to all of that work and all the FOIAs they've been filing. They're the reason why we know that the FBI is the only people that talk to Quinn Kelly, and that MPD didn't talk to frickin' Dylan's boyfriend, even though suddenly we're finding out they actually spoke, apparently. Holy crap. Gotta love the inconsistent ability to actually do their own jobs, right? Thank you for being a member for over 2 years, Carrie. 28 months. That's such a long time. Oh my God. That is such a long time. Such a super long time. That is awesome. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and pull this up right here. So, I also want to show you. I'm going to go ahead and start a folder for Moscow Mondays. Let me actually, hold on a second. I need to be able to share without it popping up the emails, because it still does that for some reason. And then I'll give y'all this link real quick. I'm going to start putting like the dates that we do the live, and I'm going to start putting the report that we're going over in this Moscow Mondays folder. It will be public, so I shouldn't have to do whatever with it. So here's the link for that. And I'm also, while we're doing this, I am going to have up, which I should have had up already, but I did not have it up already. I am going to have up a doc, like just a blank Google Doc. And I'm going to take notes on stuff as we go through for anything that was missed, that we feel like we need to look into more, something that maybe we forgot about that we need to now get some information on, something that, whatever. I'm going to take some notes, and then at the end of the live, I'll take the notes and I'll add them into the folder for the actual day. So why is this like not wanting to share stuff, right? This is kind of getting on my nerves. Oh, does this change something? Like, it's not giving me like a share this tab instead button, which is kind of getting on my nerves. Oh, it's over here now. Oh, they changed it. Oh, I wish you would have told me. Okay, anyway. So I've already done, here's the one for episode 1. The MPD narrative is in here. And again, like I said, we're going to separate this out. So I'll fix this. I'll fix this and separate this out. But what we're looking at in this one is this stuff right here. These lists that shows all the different pieces of evidence and things like that. And as we're going through them, if it's something that we haven't seen in a FOIA yet, if it's something that we have a little bit of information on now, then we'll just talk about it as we go through it. There's lots of items. I don't know how long this live is going to be, but there's lots of items in here. And we know that there's been lots of things that were originally taken in, that have been tossed aside, that haven't been looked at, that were considered something of importance that aren't of importance now. Things that we've also completely forgotten about, like I mentioned, because when this first came out, we sort of went crazy and did like 6 and 7 hour lives at a time, trying to go through as many of these as possible, because we were trying to absorb the information so that we could have an opinion and have as much information as possible without it being like, oh, well, we only read like one document, we only read like, skip through them. No, we made sure that we read every little thing, but it's been a year and there's been so much that has happened since then. So that's why I want to go through these one at a time. Try to see what's going on, take notes, make highlights, put everything in there that we need to. And if something ends up coming up, then it comes up and we can FOIA what we need. Narrative, episode 1, 7/6/26, notes. Okay. Let me fix all of this so you guys can see. That is the wrong one. Okay. Okay. Oh, 10 gifted memberships, Carrie. Thank you so much. Congratulations to our new members. That's 15 new members. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for being a member, Karina, for a month. Thank you for being here. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Okay, let me move this down. Make me tiny. And turn this down so that I'm not so freaking bright. Is this the... That's the most it'll go. I'm just going to be bright. There's just nothing I can do. See, I burned and then it instantly like went away and I don't even look like I was sunburned anymore. I'm back to being a vampire. If my neck wasn't peeling, you wouldn't even know. You literally wouldn't even know. Okay. So this is where we're going to start. Make that bigger. And like, honestly, I just put me right here. Does it look funny? I don't know how to like flip me over. Straight, rounded. I don't know. I guess it's going to be like that. I'll just be up here and it's just going to look funny because I'm up in the corner. I don't know if I like that. It looks a bit strange. I'd rather be teeny and over here than over there. Ooh, I don't like that. Let me see what it looks like. Okay, that just says Washington or WA, whatever the hell that means. Type WA. Okay, I guess it's all right. I'll put it right here. Okay. Again, this is the very first narrative when it comes to the Moscow Police Department records. And just in case you want to go in and pull all of these up yourself, this is the website right here. All of the links for the Pennsylvania website that shows public documentation, the ISP, the Pullman ones where they have some stuff that they've released with some WSU stuff involved with there. Also, let's see which other ones. The Idaho Case of Interest website, like all of those links are in the description box of every video, including the Google Drive that takes you to all of the stuff in the Google Drive, like all of it. The main link for the big folder is in there, and it has all the FOIAs, it has the court documents, it has the expert testimony, it has the stuff from Buddy the dog, it has anything from Latell County, anything and everything that we have gotten, it's in there. And I've also been working on getting all the documents from the Case of Interest website also loaded onto the Google Drive, because eventually those are all going to go away. Like eventually everything's going to get unsealed and they're going to end up replacing its space on their web portal with the next big case. So I'm trying to make sure that we have everything that we need moved over there. And I know that I'm not the only one either. I know that I've also missed a few things, and Sarah has had to like help me out. Well, she just volunteered to help me out and make sure that we had some of the ones that I missed when they were removed. So I've been trying to keep up as much as possible. That's also where the ISP photographs are. All of their reports are also on there. Everything is over there as much as humanly possible as it is. Okay. Now, when it comes to this one, I honestly feel like we have to start sort of at the bottom before going back up. And I don't mean the narrative. So what we're going to end up doing is next Monday, we're going to go through the actual narrative that Gunderson wrote, because Gunderson is the one who wrote this initial narrative. And we're going to watch like part 1 of his body cam just to make sure, the way that we did with Eric Warner's and Noon's, and you saw that we saw some problems, right? We're going to go through Gunderson's body cam, part 1, where it would have been the majority of him getting the information from whenever he wrote his narrative, probably up until when they handed him the SD card for 11/12. That's most likely where we'll stop with that one. But when it comes to the actual, I'm just going to keep me up there. When it comes to the actual CAD information, it starts from the bottom and then works its way up on this report. Because you see how it goes up to where they start the perimeter check, and then up here on the 14th, they deem it complete. Now, I'm just going to go through this because I don't think I actually read through this the first time that we went through the document itself, because it was just like a breakdown of the timing of like the 911 call stuff. And we'd already had the 911 call out. There was kind of like no reason to really go over it. I don't think that we did. So I'm going to read this portion from the bottom up because that's the order that it's in. Then we're going to go up and we're going to start with what they considered as evidence that they started keeping inventory of. And like I said, if we now know something that we didn't know before, we're going to talk about it. If it's something that we still haven't seen, it's going to go on the notepad that's going to end up going in the folder. So let's go ahead and get started. This starts at 11:58 and 29 seconds on 11:13:22, where it shows that the call comes in. Now, of course, this is not the full thing. As you can see, it goes from 29 to 30 and then hops up to 46, then to 50, and then it hops into 07. It like skips seconds. But this is where they're getting some sort of transcription from what they're hearing over the actual dispatch radio. So actually, considering that Jack was sitting in the back of that police car for who knows how long. I mean, we do know how long, we have it on camera, but I just don't remember the exact time in my brain right now. But he was back there for a long time listening to all of this stuff. So he definitely knew things were happening before the people outside of that car knew what was happening. So the way that he sat there in the back and was like, everybody knows what's going on but me. I mean, unless Noons turned his radio off, which we heard it in full volume in his body cam, and we never saw him go in and like mess with it. So I highly doubt it was turned off. The car was on. Jack was back there. He had to have heard everything. So it was just like a big act, you know, just a big old act, in my opinion. Okay. So call 95E changed from, and then it says call 951 changed from. Then it shows en route, incident en route, call 95F changed. And then it shows 22 female and then 2884 en route. Arrived on scene at 11:59 and 42 seconds. En route, and it still says 22-year-old female, because remember, that's what they were telling them on the phone. Then it says arrived. This must be Warner, I guess, at 12 and 48 seconds, because this one down here already says like on scene. But then again, we also have the camera times that we need to consider as well. So then it comes through. I think we have a homicide at 12:01 and 6 seconds on the dispatch radio. So at that point, that would be where Noons is like first standing there in like Xana's doorway. That's when that would have come through. And then it shows again 22 female en route, more people arrive on scene, more people en route, and then it says 2 college age people. And then somebody else arrived on scene, not 100 empty. So this must be before they did the perimeter and made sure, did like a clearing of the house, I guess, at 12:04. Then it says, get everyone's names, more people en route. 2 additional deceased comes over the radio at 12:05 and 42 seconds. And then 2 more arrive. Coroner notified at 12:07 and 34 seconds. This says 22MA01913 stand. I guess that might be another unit. But see, the 22 thing, the 22M is what they use for their evidence numbers. And we know that 22M09903 is this actual case number, is it not? Let me go back up here. Is that not how they have it listed? Yeah. So they do have some other 22M things in here. I'm not really sure what they're on there for. 22MA01913, I guess that's the unit number. I'm not really quite sure because it looks like the way that they do the case number itself. Huh, okay. So then it shows, coroner notified, and then assisting units come through, more en route, and then we have Hunter Johnson, I guess, is this first person's name that comes through at 12:08 and 26 seconds. There's like no other person that could be, but they just, the rest of the name wasn't on here. More people arrive. It says grab some blankets for, and we know the people outside. So that came through dispatch at 12:10. Assigned as responsible party at 12:10. That would be probably Noons, I guess. It doesn't say. Okay, so then something got canceled. Cancel right here, it was probably EMS. Cancel right here was, A and B ambulance, Moscow ambulance cancel. They called a cancel through at 12:10 and 57 seconds. Let's see. Somebody else assigned as responsible. Encompass the parking lot. House cleared officially at 12:15. It says it again at 12:16. Well, there's some other things. Maybe they're clearing bedrooms at this point or something else, but it says clear, 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 clear. In search and clear. Back and forth, back and forth. Let me know when 102 something at 12:29. Advised of new CC. What does CC mean in this? I have no idea. So here comes okay, so this is the vehicles right here. Time of call, 12:38 and 48 seconds. What was that? I guess maybe that's coming through dispatch that way. Something in service call at 12:49. PD4, somebody arrived. Somebody else arrived on scene. MDC arrived on scene. 12:59. Call in Blaker's team at 1:12. Advised group is outside at 1:28. Male in gray shirt, and I guess that would be probably Hunter, right? Wasn't his shirt like a gray blue color? Or was that, I don't remember what color Jack was wearing. Maybe closed caption. I don't know. I don't know. The way that their abbreviations are in here and the way it cuts out is really kind of difficult. I don't know. And signed to a CA. So then we finally have a name. We have Xana Kernodle coming through at 14:32 and 41 seconds. And then Ethan Chapin, Maddie Mogen, Kaylee Goncalves. They don't have the names fully written right here. I don't know who arrived at 14:52. See, they don't have like, or unless right here is like maybe their badge number or like their unit. Okay. So I know the unit numbers are on the reports themselves. So I guess eventually I'll need to go in and match them for who 170 is, for who 113 is. You know what I mean? Arrive, entry, 1502. Jack Jacor. This is his name right here at 1509 and 59 seconds. I don't know what 503840 is, unless that's like part of his phone number. Back, arrived, transport, en route, arrive. Something King, PD, assisting unit at 439. Assisting unit again at 451. Who's AM right here? MDC name AM Aaron Morris is, I know, one of the police officers, but they wouldn't be needing to clear out his name like that. There'd be no reason for that. I don't know what that is. And then, but we also have another plate. Who the frick is AM? I'm not sure what AM is. I'm not sure. Still thinking, who the frick is AM? I don't know. I'll have to go look at the list. Something was completed by MPD. Complete. Somebody was assigned as responsible for something. Assigned as responsible. Assisting unit arrived on scene at 23:45. Perimeter check again at 1:42. So now they're in the morning times. No, they're not. Now we're over on 11:14. Oh, it is the morning times. Yeah, because they worked the scene until like early in the morning, right? Early in the morning. And this is where the midnight times would start. Right here. Somebody got there right after midnight. Perimeter check at 1:10 and 1:42. Somebody else was assigned at 1:45. Somebody else was assigned at 1:46. More perimeter checks. Steels are intact at 3:10. Arrived on scene again at 3:11. Another perimeter check at 3:47. Steels intact. So I must at this point they have collected evidence and started sealing things up. So 4 a.m. they're sealing. The seals are intact and more people are arriving on scene. At 4:24 a.m. they're doing another perimeter check. Seals are intact again. More people arrive on scene at 4:30 in the morning. Perimeter check again at 5:02. Seals intact again at 5:07. And more people arrive on scene at 5:07. So then media shows up at 5:43 in the morning. Perimeter check and seals at 5:55. Latell County there to relieve at 5:55. People assigned. Crisis relief. Crisis center. Maybe crisis center is the CC. Crisis center relief. Probably Keller. And that's at 6:25 in the morning. Somebody was assigned to do something, and then it says something was completed here. Okay, so they completed it at 8:09 is where it was marked as complete by MPD, 8:09 in the morning on 11/14/22. So the names here of who shows up is how they are, I guess, telling us that they showed up in order. But I will tell you here, I don't know who the hell Casey Green is. I've never seen the name Casey Green at all. I'm going to have to ask Connor if he knows who the frick that is. I don't know who that is. I don't remember that name before. And nothing that we've seen has had that guy's name either. So let me write that down because it shows that he is unit number M11. I wonder if he is the rookie. Ooh. I wonder if he is the rookie that talked to the guy in the ATF uniform. Because everyone else's names, like we've seen. But I don't remember seeing anybody named Casey Green. So 12th on scene. 12 on scene. 12th on scene. Casey Green, unit M111. Oh, I don't know. Casey Green is the OG cop on campus. Interesting. I don't remember hearing that name. I'm gonna have to. I'll have to look because I don't remember hearing that. Okay, so it shows that the top 12 people that showed up is Mitch Nunes, which you know he was the first one. Eric Warner. Oh, I don't have to do the comparison thing. The log is right here. So everyone that completed stuff for the most part is going to be here, minus people that showed up after the fact. Okay. So Mitch Nunes, Eric Warner, Gunderson, which is Shane Gunderson, Corbin Smith, Ryan Snyder, Tyson Barrett, Anthony Dollinger, who's now the police chief, who I emailed today, John Rosinski, Aaron Morris, Nate Rosenthal, Jay Waters, and Casey Green. Now, Jay Waters is someone who went with the bodies to the funeral home, and I requested his body cam information from when that happened. Let me see if I can find where they told me. No, there was like a no to this one. Yeah. So on March 16th, 2026, I sent in a request regarding Officer Jay Waters and his report number 265 for him getting there at 2051 and taking escorting the funeral home people and someone else to the funeral home. And on April 17th, they denied the entire thing for an unwarranted invasion of personal privacy. Every bit of his body-worn camera was denied as privacy. Even the stuff from the scene. They couldn't just go in and redact the drive or whatever. They know the whole thing. You can't have it. So I don't know. They're full of poop. They've always been full of poop. Okay, so this is people that asked for stuff that's not important. But it starts right here, where it starts talking about the evidence things. So let's start where we have the pictures. So the CD of pictures is interesting because when it comes to the CD of pictures, and we pull up Officer Snyder's report when it comes to these photos, what we don't see is him listing anything regarding a knife sheath. What we don't see is him saying that he took a photo of a knife sheath on the bed. He does list the third floor. He does list taking pictures of the girls, but no knife sheath. No knife sheath, literally at all. And he was one of the first people to walk through the scene after Eric Warner and Nunes got there and Gunderson. One of the first people to walk through and start taking photos. It's literally the first photos taken, unless the officers were taking some for just in case purposes, because some of them were doing stuff on their cell phones. And not a thing about the sheath being mentioned whatsoever. Not at all. Now, let's see. When it comes to this one, we're going to start reading up. These blood swabs right here, this one is right here, item number 40, that I just told you guys about, that you guys have been watching me try to get information on because Chris Holland, one of the people that apparently helped Broken Plea be written, is going to uninterview, not going around doing interviews, but one interview where he claims that Xana's blood was in the kitchen. But that's impossible because the only swab that was taken in the kitchen was negative for blood and was never sent to the lab for testing because it wasn't blood. Now, it was put away and it was in the refrigerator incident back in January of 2025, but it was not positive for blood at all. And, again, it's been how long and still no response from Chris Holland, which honestly isn't shocking. These experts don't want to take any accountability for the fact that they're wrong. They probably just weren't expecting for us to give a shit. They probably weren't expecting for us to have the documents and be able to actually prove them wrong. Well, I'm not done. I'm far from done. I promise you that one. Anyway, as you can see here, this was the one where we try to get information from, and it just says blood swab. Well, we know from the actual inventory lists and the actual typed up report that this was from the kitchen. This is the one that I just told you guys when we tried to get chain of custody in order to see what was going on with it. It tells me that it's from the 3rd floor from the south side of the closet, which would have been in Maddie's room. And we know that it's incorrect. So we'll see what they have to say about all of those inconsistencies. But let's go ahead and start from the bottom down. I mean, from the bottom up. And I will only do like that so I can just keep track. And again, this is the number 1, which is the pictures. So this is item number 56, which is a blood sample. Item 55 is also a blood sample. This is powder, which is what we know to be now is what? The Adderall powder. Now, the money here is actually just like a rolled up $2 bill, as far as we know from what was laying next to the powder, which is also a question that a lot of people have when it comes to Kaylee, because we're being told from the reports, which is still something that we're trying to clear up with FOIAs if we can, is figure out exactly what happened in way of her getting the Range Rover versus her selling her car. So we're being told that she gave precisely $6,500 as a down payment, plus her grandmother put an additional $1,000 from her credit card as a down payment on the Range Rover. Well, $6,500 is exactly to the T the amount of money that she sold her previous car for. But the way that the reports are being written, it's as if she sold the car the day after or so that she got the Range Rover. So we're trying to figure out if that's right or if that's wrong. But the thing is that she apparently just took off as soon as Steve got there and yelled back at him something about how she was keeping the money before she gets into a small white car and leaves, according to the report. Well, we don't see or hear anything about her depositing $6,500. We haven't seen any deposit slips. Doesn't mean that there's not any. But we haven't heard anything about the money thing other than in the interview, her saying to Steve, I'm keeping the money before she takes off. Walking around with $6,500 probably isn't the best thing to do, especially if it is after she actually already had the Range Rover and she didn't need to use it as a deposit because she's already done the deposit. You know what I mean? So we're trying to get some clarity on that because people are questioning if she had $6,500 still on her because she was living at King Road. She was not living with the Goncalveses. She was still living in Moscow. Did she deposit it? Is there a proof that she deposited it? Did she have it on her? Is it missing? Who knows? It's a question. They might already have, again, a deposit slip and it might be literally nothing. But considering the no answers here, $6,500 is a lot of money just to be having on you. And people have killed people for less. So I think it's a valid question. Maybe one day we'll get some clarity on it. Who knows? But as far as we can understand from what we know so far, this most likely is the rolled up $2 bill. Now we have a game bag, which I wasn't really quite sure what that was other than like a sports bag, backpack or a sports bag. I'm not really quite sure. Their verbiage in these things are pretty interesting. Bedding packaging. iPad. Now, remember here, when it comes to the actual handwritten report that we got, that 4-page handwritten report that we were told about, that ended up being actually written by McKenna, whose daughter has been, all over the place here over the past couple of months or so. And we found out that she wrote that there was a laptop coming from Bethany's room when indeed it was an iPad. And it was really important that there were inconsistencies that needed to be pointed out because this was also the same 4-page handwritten report where it stated that the knife sheath was on the floor. And again, it's really difficult to understand or even try to figure out if it's really a problem, if it really was on the floor, or because of this person's other inconsistent statements, because foot and shoe prints very much matter, and iPad or laptop very much matter. The details very much matter, and it's not splatter either, it's spatter, all of those things. So it's difficult to know if it being on the floor is really a situation or if she just writes whatever she wants all willy-nilly, the way that we've seen in at least 3 or 4 other instances on that report. So trying to figure out exactly what things are still has been pretty difficult. But we see here that it's an iPad on this narrative as well. So we can only assume that would be the iPad that would be coming from Bethany, because she's the only one that we know of that had one. And I also believe that she said when she was watching Baby Daddy that it was on her, I think her iPad too. I think so, which is also something interesting in the 11/17 interview of Dylan, it almost, well, not almost, it does. She says a couple of times that when she was back in her room that she was like watching Vampire Diaries on her phone, which leads also more into her hearing the things that she claims to have been hearing, probably coming from her phone. If she happened to like snooze off for just a few minutes, which I highly doubt because of the contact and the timing, but if she happened to have just like maybe passed out for all of a few minutes as she was watching it and it's like in her ear, then that's probably honestly where it came from, the way that the majority of people already thought so, except it wasn't on the TV. It sounds like maybe they were watching it on the TV while Lakeland was there, but then she continued in her room on her phone, which makes, again, everything that everyone thought about her getting the statements and the man in black and blah, 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 all of it coming from Vampire Diaries even more likely, because if she was watching it on her phone, that makes it a more personal, more immersible experience of her watching it and maybe hearing it deep in her ear. I don't know. So that's going to be something, because I'm going to drop that part. I think it's part 6 of her 11/17 deep dive interview thing tomorrow. And that is a section of that one. On top of how we seem to have all of these other people's Snapchat messages, including like what was actually in the message, but we have none of Dylan's. Just like we have everyone else's phones that have been able to, been gotten into, but Kaylee's, they still can't get into. Which, by the way, we will be going over the Goncalveses at CrimeCon on their panel. I've been able to get access to that actual whole little interview thing. And they make a whole like lie of bullshit, the Goncalveses, as usual, when it comes to Kaylee's phone, because they're trying to say that they still don't have her phone as of CrimeCon. They still did not have Kaylee's phone, and that they want the phone back instead of them trying to get into it, because they know that once they get into Kaylee's phone, that we're going to be FOIA-ing her information and just going to have all of her text messages and all of her everything everywhere. And I just want to like reach to the phone and just like, stop lying. Stop lying. No, we can't. Even if they're able to get into Kaylee's phone and it becomes part of the case because they're able to get shit from it, it is going to be held away from us because of privacy. We will not see any of it. They want to sit there and boudet and cry about the fakest bullshit when they don't even pay attention to the way the FOIA laws actually are. No, we will not be able to FOIA the private contents of Kaylee's freaking phone, Christy. Steve. Why do y'all sit there and lie? And the fact that these damn people up on this panel are not knowledgeable enough to be able to be like, well, actually, Christy, you really don't need to worry about that, because the way that Idaho's laws already are, that's going to fall under unwarranted invasion of personal privacy, and they actually won't be able to get any of that to the public. So you really don't need to be worrying about that. You can rest your head a little easier tonight. No, instead they like the riled up lie. I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of it. It's the stupidest shit. It is honestly the stupidest shit. My God. Okay, anyway. Let's get back to this. Okay. So then we have a Dell laptop, latex gloves, probably the ones from the bathroom. Another Dell laptop. Ooh, that was not supposed to happen. It does that sometimes, just big old squiggly for no reason. So then we have another laptop. Now, remember, there were, 4 MacBooks? All the girls had a MacBook. I just assumed that it was University of Idaho school-assigned laptops, how they do that. And then let's see. We have a silver laptop, a disposable camera. Now, this is also, I'm pretty positive. Let's see. Does it have stuff from Kohberger's apartment on here, too? Hold on. Because that won't show up until 12:30. 12:29, 12:30. Okay. Yeah, everything's on here, I think, including like the trash from Idaho. Pretty positive. Okay. So then we get into all these blood swabs. Now, in order to be able to put all of these together, we would have to pull up those other reports. And we're just not doing all of that at this moment in time. But we do know for a fact that the majority of these blood swabs are in the January incident of the refrigerator. Now, the freezer section had all of the DNA extracts, not the swabs of DNA. The DNA swabs were in the refrigerator, and they claim that there wasn't anything that was destroyed. I just don't know if I believe that. I also don't know how the hell that even happened and how they don't have cameras to like see what happened. I just don't trust that whole situation because it happened on the night of January 23rd, 2025. And that is the night of the closed session in which Brett Payne told Ann Taylor for the first time in court that there were unknown DNA known to the police after they got Bryan Kohberger's name that they didn't do any work on and they just pushed off to the side. And that exact same night, suddenly the refrigerator where those DNA swabs are being held goes bad. The same night. I just don't believe that. I just don't believe that at all. There's definitely something else there. And the crazy part is that I even told them in my FOIA for item 40 that I was aware that the swab for item 40 was involved in the refrigerator incident for the evidence lab. And I was expecting part of that to be part of the chain of custody for when it got moved to the new refrigerator. And then yet they sent me something that was wrong. Somebody needs to audit this entire department. Somebody needs to audit this entire department. Holy shit. Holy shit. It's so bad. My God. So one day I would like to go in here and maybe we'll do it in the, maybe I'll do it in between this live and the next live. We'll go live and we'll pull up the reports and we'll go one by one on these blood swabs because I would really like to know which ones were actually blood and which ones weren't and separate this document out and put like P or N for positive or negative, because we do have that information. It's in the handwritten reports. It's in some of the typed up reports, but it's also in the handwritten reports. That way we can know, okay, which ones of these are actually in that refrigerator incident, which ones of these were positive for blood, which ones of these are part of the unknown information, because look how many of them that there are. And that's not even all of them. That's not even all of them. That's just the stuff that was placed into inventory on the 14th. That's not even all of them. So then we have the steak knife right here, which would be where, you know what? We need to get this chain of custody. So let's do chain of custody. What's this item number? 22M 1815 item 16. And it's just labeled as steak knife. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get the chain of custody for the steak knife and see what we can get from that information, because I don't really think we have a lot in way of the forensic reports, which is something else that I'd like to go back and check for that, because I don't remember there being really anything in there that I can really recall. Okay, so then we have fingerprint lifts right here. The vape pen that we know was under Kaylee. That was apparently Jack Ducour's. That would be that one right there. And then we have a blue iPhone. The white blanket, which is the tannish white blanket that was on top of the girls. And then the knife sheath right here. This one right here, which we have finally the actual official chain of custody for. We asked for it a few months ago, and they gave us a bunch of stuff that really didn't answer any questions. Then we asked for some information regarding a resubmission that was noted on the Idaho State Police reports as the only resubmission in the entire case. Literally, it's the only checked marked box for resubmission. And in that, they gave us the official chain of custody that they should have given us a long time ago, which is, again, another reason why I said we probably need to re-FOIA everything. Because they seem to not know what the hell they're doing. You know. So we probably will. Another laptop, cell phone, fingerprint lift, fingerprint lift. Now see how this is a problem? This is a problem for me because they never once told us that there was a foot cast that was taken, and this is why we have issues with the handwritten report, because the pictures show us that it's not a foot, it's a shoe. Not just any shoe. It looks like a boot. Now, it also looks like those prints were there Friday night before the party, like around the Friday night area of time. Is that for sure? I don't really quite know. But I do know that there are photos from before the night of the crime, and they sure do look exactly like the ones that they are trying to pretend actually matter in this case. But this is why we got so upset of what the handwritten report, because the handwritten report says foot. And when you see foot, you're expecting a bare foot. You're expecting to see little toesies. You're not expecting to see a full-on boot with the actual like impression where the boot heel separates. And that's what we see in those. So it's saying foot cast is kind of bothersome to me. Like, I almost feel like I need to try to get further information on that too, because that's not how it's supposed to be labeled. It's not how it's supposed to be labeled. So then we have the 15th, and it just says DVDs. I'll need to see if there's some sort of report maybe that matches that to see what that is. On the 15th, a phone and a phone. Just very blank, just phone and phone. Okay. So then we have receipts. Just blank receipts. Item number 57. Again, this is where we're going to have to go in and pull some other information. Kershaw knife from 11/16. Item number 61. I don't remember anything from that, so I'm just going to write it in here as something to go back and check. Kershaw knife. Item 61. From what date? 11/16/22. Okay. So then we have this SD card, which I'm pretty sure is the 1112 King Road camera SD card, because that whole thing was weird. I mean, I guess it could be this one. I'm going to have to go back and check. I'm going to have to go back and check the number on it. But I know that in Lawrence Mowry's report regarding the SD card, he doesn't mention the fact that Gunderson is the one who got it. And we also know that he couldn't get anything off of it and that they really didn't have anything regarding the cameras until the 19th, according to Lawrence Mowry's own reports. So I don't know which one's which, but I also don't think that's the last one either. See, yeah, there's another SD card right here, and notice that it's got the same date on it of 11/17. So I don't know if it's like stuff from the autopsy or what. I don't know. So then we have a buccal swab, a buccal swab from the 17th. I don't remember whose that is. I'll have to look at the reports for that. Stuff from the dryer right here. MC prints on 11/17. I don't know who MC is. Maisie Chapin? Maybe Maisie Chapin? An earring? An earring. I don't remember them taking in an earring. Unless this is from the autopsy stuff now. This might be, yeah, this is going to be all of the autopsy stuff now. Hand covers for the right hand, left hand. But see, like these, you'd have to go into the other reports to see whose body this stuff is really coming off of. Well, this right here is probably Kaylee, because it's just the one sock and then t-shirt and pants. Yeah, these are going to be all from the autopsy. So I'm going to assume that it's not Maisie Chapin, and it has to do with prints being taken of the victims at the autopsy. Medical courier. I mean, I don't know what the MC could be for in that. Medical something. Coroner, Moscow coroner prints, maybe. Not sure. Something like that. But it's for the victims. And then their blood card, because they had to make sure that they also compared all of their information. So then we have dryer 2. Now, I know that they did take the victim's clothes and run them through like a dryer type system so that they could try to get anything off of them. At least that's what I remember what one of the reports said. I don't know if they like wash them in a certain chemical and then dry them, or if they just straight up put them in the dryer, but they do then go through the lint trap and they try to see if anything fell off, if it collected anything, to just try to get some like additional stuff that they can actually send off through the lab. Yeah, this is just all of them getting sweatshirt. This would be Xana. Underwear. Yep, this would be Xana. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything in between. And then this up here would be Ethan. Okay. Jewelry, left sock. Okay. This is right here where the autopsy stuff stops. So then we hop up to 11/18/22, and it's a camera. We have another swab, and then right here is where on the 19th, just like the report states, they finally add the 1112 King Road camera into evidence right here. This matches Mowry's report, which again, that means that for 6 days, the Goncalveses, Jack Tucor, and all these other people that we have no idea about whatsoever had username and password access for this home nest camera. And we're logging in and looking around and who knows what else before the police were even able to get their first copy of the footage. It was being accessed administratively for 6 days. Ain't that some crazy shit? Ain't that some crazy shit? Crazy shit. Crazy shit. So now we have on the 19th some more swabs, a latent lift card, a stain swab, lots of stain swabs all the way up to here. So it'd be nice to go in and check all of these, see which ones of these were biological and which ones of these were nothing. Then we had the router and the modem, more DNA swabs, a note. Check reports for notes on 11/19. I know that one of the things that we have been meaning to FOIA, major crime, maybe so, you're probably right. I know one of the things that we have been meaning to FOIA is, oh, maybe it is. No, that would have been on the 14th, the 13th or 14th. I know what you're talking about, the piece of paper. We've been wanting to FOIA the letter that got sent to the sorority that was like real creepy and the cops got called out for. And I keep I remember it at times where I'm never going to actually remember at the end of the day to FOIA the damn thing. So hopefully I'll FOIA it before we get to that report. I should be able to FOIA it. I'll actually go ahead and just put it in the notes as a side note. FOIA the letter sent to the sorority. And I'll go in and I'll find the report and I'll just get that done because that's something that I've been really wanting to do for a long time. And I'll remember it being on this right here because I'm going to end up putting this into the paperwork. Into the whatchamadoodler Google Drive. Okay. Now let's see. Okay. So then we have cigarette butt, apparent hairs on the 19th, another swab. 2 hairs. Would you stop it? Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, 2 hairs. Drop paper. What's drop paper? What is drop paper? Like painting paper? Did they use that at the house for something? Well, okay, so if I say what is drop paper, it changes it and says a paper drop, and it makes sense, to why this might be what they're talking about instead. A paper drop refers to an activity or experiment where pieces of paper are dropped to observe, measure, or analyze their behavior, often to study forces, randomness, or data patterns. So is this maybe where they were going in and trying to test the way that the blood dropped on the floor in certain places, maybe in the bedroom and stuff like that? I wonder if maybe that's what that is. I'm gonna add that to stuff to look at. Hold on. And that was what? Item 219. Because there might be something in a report, and it might really be honestly like nothing. But I don't know what it is. It might be from the dryers too. I don't know if that's what they call the dryer stuff. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Let's see. A camera, a comforter, an iPhone, all on the 20th. A diary. I'm pretty sure this would be Dylan's stuff right here. Pretty sure. Now, if that is the case, then this note right here, I'm going to assume is that, what was it? Some sort of like accountability vote letter thing that she had maybe? Or something from Emily. I think that there was something between them and Emily that they also found in there. I'm not quite sure. Okay, let's see. So that another SD card. An iPhone again on the 20th. Okay. I guess maybe it would be also consistent with interview dates when people were coming in and they were getting forensic extracts of people's phones. I bet you that has something to do with that part too. Okay, and then we have a power cord, another power cord, more cigarette butts. So that's 3 cigarette butts. I know that they tested. See, when Moscow got the cigarette butts sent over to ISP relabeled them as like item 30, 32, and 33. I think these 2 cigarette butts, but I don't remember if there was something from this other one. Oh no, I'll have to go back and check that. Okay. So then we have a swab taken on the 21st and another swab taken on the 23rd. And they have like what maybe is a name right here, but it's redacted. I wonder what that is. So I'll have to check this item number and see what that's about. Then we have blood swab, blood swab, blood swab, and blood swab on the 23rd. Then we have DNA. This would be extracts. And then swabs, more swabs, the JBL speaker and the UE speaker, and then the portable speaker got taken and put into evidence on the 23rd. So this is where we see the glove. And this is, I'm pretty sure, the penguin glove. That should be the same date as the report that Payne has. Maybe. I'm not sure. I'll have to check. The fire stick. 11/28. So remember, this is nothing to do with Kohberger yet. Nothing from his house. Photo printer, the Kindle, another fire stick, a computer monitor. Would you stop those damn squiggles? Computer monitor, another phone on the 29th. Now, I do remember they're saying something in a report that they opened, I think, a drawer and also at the top of a closet and found some other phones. Another swab on the 30th. This just says Chevy. 11/30/2022. Was Maddie's car a little Chevy? Which car was Maddie's? Was it a little white Chevy? Okay. So I guess they took her black box, maybe? Do they have something that says the vehicle's down here? Like, I know that it's in other reports. I just want to make sure if we can. Didn't we just see them do vehicles? Yeah, I knew it's a little white car. I just can't remember what kind. I don't think it was a Malibu. It was so small. I know it was a white Chevy. Was it a little Cavalier or something like that? I had a feeling it was a Chevy. Let me see if I can find something that can give me an actual answer. A Chevy Cruze is what most people are saying, that it's a little Chevy Cruze, which would make sense because the Chevy Cruze is tiny like that. Yeah. A little white Chevy Cruze. So I wonder if they have anything from the black box, or do they have any reason to think that that car left? Because right above it is the Ford Explorer. And we know that they definitely pulled some information from that. Chevy Cruze, which was Maddie's car. I'm going to try to get some info from that. Somebody, who just freaking FOIA'd this? Someone just told me that they tried to FOIA the Ford console information for Ethan's SUV and were told either that it didn't exist or that the FBI had it, one of the two. It might have been Accomplished Day, but it might have also been this other person that's been FOIAing stuff. I can't honestly remember, but somebody did just try to FOIA the damn Ford console stuff and were told no. So now I'm going to try. Okay, let's see, 22M. 2123, and also it is called item 274. Also, though, Ethan's Ford Explorer logs, which is 22M 2122, item number 273. Okay, yeah, I'm just going to try myself and see what happens. There's literally no reason to not be able to give us the information for that timeline. Logan, okay, it was Logan. And it was like straight up denied. You FOIA'd all the cars. I'm guessing they said no for everything. It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. We're going to try. Because I don't want all of it. I don't want all of it. All I want is from, what, 10? No, noon to noon. Give me noon to noon. Give me the 12th at noon to the 13th at noon. Give me noon to noon. We know what they were doing. Y'all have given us their entire timeline. We know when they went to the party, when they took off, when they went to Hunka-Dunka, when they came back, blah, 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 whatever. Just give it to us. It's not invading personal privacy to tell us the very small, little bitty, minute things that the Ford Explorer logs can say. See, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. It's just so stupid. Because we know it exists. We're asking for it because your damn reports are telling us that the shit exists, you big old dummies. That's why I literally attach now, especially with this little portal that they just made. I attach their own freaking reports to it. You can't tell me shit if I'm using your own words to ask you for something. Like I'm taking your damn information from your own very public portal and I'm attaching it to this request. There's no reason for you to tell me that it's not there. You're the one telling me it's there to begin with. Crackhead behavior, bro. Crackhead behavior. Okay, so then we have on 12/1, we have another swab, another DNA swab. I think this is when they went and spoke to everyone over at the frat house. Yeah. Pretty sure this is all, yeah, 12-2. Yeah. This is all of the frat house guys. Now, this letter, I don't know what this is on 12-6. I wonder if this is the sorority letter. I'll find out after I go through some more stuff. So here we have another swab. What is H2O bottle Xene? What's Xene? What is Xene? Well, this is telling me it's a surname. Like it's a last name. Water bottle? Is there a company? There's one called the Epson Exceed Eco Tank water bottle. But I'm not seeing anything called Xene. Let me put that down. Xene H2O water bottle. M2142 / item number 228. No, 288. 288. Okay. So then we have all the way on the 6th, we have Cellbrite USB of, I'm going to assume the victim's phone information. I wonder if I could ask Cellbrite for that and they would give it to us. Because, we asked them for Bryan Kohberger's information and they gave it to us on a Google Drive. Plunder was the first one to have it. So I emailed them and said, hey, this YouTube channel came out and said that you gave them a Google Drive with the information for Bryan Kohberger's phone. Do you mind if you send it to me too? I have that also available in our own Google Drive, all of the information that they sent us. I wonder if we could get this part, something from this portion. Unless it's not the victim's and it's somebody else's phone. I'm going to see. I probably won't be able to get it, but we're going to see. All right. 12/6/22. 2141. Only thing I can do at this point, is figure out what we need to look at or try to figure out things to maybe see that we didn't look at before and just send them in, a few at a time and see what they say. Just to see what they say. Because there's so many things here that just still do not make any damn sense. There's no answers to literally anything here. It's insane. It's actually insane. Okay. Here we have prints coming in. A swab here. Shoe prints on the 7th of December. A thumb drive for something on the 7th. A disposable camera. This says DVD and then it has J. Could be Johnson. I don't know. This right here has H as what seems to be the first name. It could be Hunter. Maybe no. I'm not really quite sure who this person is on the 9th. This is too short to be Hunter. Then says interviews right here. And then 12/9, also this other person's interview. It starts with a K. I'll have to go into the reports and see. Is there anybody with H as a last name that's really small? I'm not sure. Okay, so then we have cheek swab, cheek swab, cheek swab, cheek swab. An interview on 12/12 with somebody whose name starts with H. Well, I know the only interview with Hunter Johnson that we've seen is the one on the 13th. We haven't seen MPD or ISP do a follow-up with him. So I'm going to just assume naturally, like everything else, that the FBI is the one who did everything. So I wonder if these are maybe sent over to them from the FBI. Maybe. I don't know. I wonder if this is the same person right here, 12/9, 12/12. I guess I'm going to write it down in here. Okay, let's see. Beer can, full can. So I'm guessing I'm going to assume these two right here were empty then. Backpack, another beer can, swabs again, another DVD. Now, this has J interview from 12/15/22. Oh, that's too much. I don't know if this is Johnson or who this J person possibly could be. Not quite sure. More swabs on the 15th. Several more swabs on the 15th. A DNA swab on the 16th. Extracts being created here on the 16th. Nail clip swabs on the 16th. Multiple. I'm going to assume maybe these are from Maddie and the rest of the victims possibly. I don't know when they started working on those. I'll have to look back at the reports. DNA extracts. Yeah, this is probably it because they created a bunch of extracts and stuff from these clippings. DNA swabs on the 16th. DNA swabs, DNA swabs, DNA swabs, DNA swabs. So H2O bottle. Does that mean like a regular ass water bottle? Like I can throw it in the trash can, or like do I need to put it in the dishwasher? What is that? What is that? But I'm going to assume now that this would be the trash. Because now we have hit 12/29 and there is nothing at all. Look on the 16th. Everything stops on the 16th. They don't even have anything listed in here for almost 2 weeks. Almost 2 weeks. The 19th is when they get the call that Kohberger is the person that the FBI wants them to look at. And this item number 314 is the last piece that they have in here for these dates. But look at the jump. It goes from item 314 to 397. And there's almost 2 weeks in between them putting in information. That's crazy. Where's all the work they were apparently doing on Kohberger after they got his name? The 16th is when they just completely stopped until they get the trash from Pennsylvania. That's crazy. That's crazy. I didn't realize that before. That's a big time gap. So then I'm expecting to not have any reports of information, right? So if I go through the reports, there shouldn't be anything for 2 weeks. I highly doubt that that's the case, but okay. So from the trash can, they pulled water bottles, popsicle sticks, a Dunkin' lid and cup, lollipop stick, Q-tips, which are Q-tips, by the way, not swabs. There's a huge difference between there being forensic swabs and you got some earwax kind of Q-tips. People need to learn the difference because apparently some people aren't very aware that there's a difference there. Flossers, straw, Dunkin' cup and lid again, used Q-tips, flossers, used napkins, earplugs, nail clipper, a lollipop stick, earplugs, straw, Band-Aids, contents of bags. So there were some other bags inside of the trash can, inside of the trash bags. Then we have mail, more bags, a note. Was that in the trash? That was in the trash? Because this isn't going to be the note from Bryan in Montana or whatever the frick else that we saw in the inventory thing. This is the trash from before they arrested him on the 30th. This is the trash pictures that we have from the, a whole ass nail clipper, a whole thing. It must have been broken or some shit. No, yeah, this is the trash that they got from Pennsylvania that they flew over to the Idaho State Police lab. We have the report on this one. I'll show y'all some of the pictures that are attached to it. Let's see here. They would be under Idaho State Police, forensics. Let's see, which one is this? That's 12/13, 12/13, 12/28. Okay. So on 12/28, they got this bag of trash that came in from Pennsylvania. And this is it right here. This is report number, which one? Number 16. So we'll go back to forensic reports in order and go to number 16. Do we have both of those? Oh, we don't have the unredacted one. There are still a few that we do not have the unredacted reports for. This is one of them. And as you can see, the information here matches the trash pieces that we just read through. And there are a few pictures also in here, but there's more in the Idaho State Police forensic drop. I don't remember exactly which drop it was, but see, it's just regular schmegular trash. Straw, ear plug thingies, starbursts, lollipop sticks, a whole ass nail clipper, whole ass nail clipper, like actually, flossers, earwax and hair, Dunkin' cup, straw. This is all the trash. I mean, it's not going to be all of it, but this is some pictures of the trash, all the water bottles. And see, we also know that he always had several water bottles in his car. Like even in the Latah County pullover in August, he had like, I think like two. Wasn't there like two water bottles in his front console thing? Coffee grinds on top of the water bottles. Yeah, see, that was that report. So all of this is just going to be the trash that they took from there because they flew it. And that's what I also said. I said, how much money did that cost for them to fly a bag of actual garbage to the Idaho State Police Forensic Lab for them to do testing on when they had the partnership of the FBI office in Pennsylvania? Why didn't they just do it there? Why did they put the trash on a jet and fly it back to Idaho? How much money did that cost to fly a bag of freaking trash? You know, that's the kind of stuff I think about when they say that this thing cost so many millions of dollars. How much gas did that cost for a red-eye flight to fly a trash bag to Idaho all the way across the country? This isn't like it was sharing borders. This was literally clear across the country, thousands of miles. How much did that cost? I'm going to actually, can I FOIA that? Can I FOIA that very specific event? FOIA the flight for the trash bag to ISPFS. I want to know how much it cost. I'm going to ask for that receipt. I want to know how much it cost. How'd that whole thing go? Ridiculous. Okay, so now this is where we get into the information that came from Kohberger's apartment, which again, we know that with everything that they took in there, even the things that were positive for blood, they never have told us that it was Kohberger's blood. But we know that he was in a new environment. He had a nosebleed problem. We know that he is a man who shaved, so some of it was probably maybe from him cutting his face while shaving. All of it was pretty much in his bed, like his pillowcase and like one other piece Now, none of it ever linked back to the house, but obviously none of it ever linked back to anyone else either, or else they would have been like, holy shit, there's another female's blood in his room, and holy shit, she's missing, and blah, blah, blah. You know, none of that happened. So I'm going to assume that the pieces were Kohberger's blood. I haven't seen where they were actually compared to him. I've just seen where it wasn't the victims. So I guess maybe that's something to consider, is blood sample results from BK apartment. Just to see if they did anything further. Because again, we know that that wasn't the victims, but we don't know if it was his either. And I'm just curious. It probably is, but I'm still just curious if they even bothered, you know. So we have his bottom mattress pad. And we went through all of this when the inventory reports came out. As a matter of fact, I will drop a link right now to something that I have held on to for a long time that I've showed you guys a lot of times. This is also down in the description box. This was something that came out way back in the very beginning of the case, I believe in January. And this was a huge drop of 166 pages that was released by the New York Times in a file. And it had the inventory reports from his apartment. It has the supplemental report from Don Daniels. This is also where we see that she misplaced blood evidence from the apartment for like 10 days, never addressed Ann Taylor, never called and said, hey, I accidentally forgot, blah, 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 blah. No, nothing, no heads up, no, hey, let me drive the 10 minutes over and drop this shit off where it belongs. None of that happened. Oh, nay. She just wrote a report about it later. And nobody seemed to have done anything about it. But lo and behold, she gets a whole promotion after being so stupid with the blood evidence from this apartment. Now, again, it ended up not being anyone's blood. But it's still crazy that she was just allowed to make such a crazy mistake and nothing happened. On top of the additional section about the little shed at Kohberger's apartment, I've really always questioned if they broke that lock before they got the search warrant. You know, I've really always questioned that. But all this information is in here. We went through it a super, super long time ago, but we have gotten more unredacted versions of this since then, especially from Pullman. We've got so much information from Pullman. Oh my God. We have a lot of info, pictures and all kinds of things. We still want to go over the case reports that were written for the classes when it comes to, you know, wrongful convictions and all kinds of things that were being looked at and being reported on by him, that he wrote these papers on, that they have pictures of, because it's really interesting the things that were being written and discussed while all of this stuff was actually happening. It's actually pretty crazy. But there's that document if you haven't seen that yet. Again, it's like 166 pages. It's also where we saw the version of the probable cause order that came from Blaker. Because remember when they didn't release us anything until Kohberger got back to Idaho and they gave us Brett Payne's bullshit PCA? When Blaker's PCA came out for the stuff in Washington and the stuff in Pennsylvania, it became really obvious that this was a big, huge game of copy and paste, except for where it really mattered. And one of the biggest issues that was changed was the knife sheath responsibility. Blaker puts the responsibility of the knife sheath on the forensic team there at the time, and Payne takes responsibility for finding it himself. And Chief Dollinger has gone on interviews and said that it was Payne that found it. Payne was nowhere near the first on scene. He didn't show up for hours and hours and hours afterwards. He was actually called in order to do interviews at the police department. He didn't show up until dark time when it comes to him actually being on scene. And there's no way that he was the first one to see it. We were told that it wasn't covered up all the way, that it was partially covered. We see the way that it looks. We see that it's halfway hanging off the bed. It should be in Eric Warner's body cam. And if it wasn't there when Eric Warner walked around the left side of the bed to check Maddie's leg for lividity, the way that he claims in his report that he did, then somebody put it there in between Eric Warner walking into that room and Payne suddenly seeing it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. It should be in the body cam. And if they're not going to release Eric Warner's body cam without the redactions to where we can actually see that, then we're never going to know. And there is a way that they can redact just the body. They can redact just Maddie's body into a big old blur, but we can still see the shadowing and the outline and everything around her without it taking away the view of the knife sheath. If they're choosing not to do it, it's because they're simply choosing not to do it. The capabilities are out there. If they can upgrade their system to this, they can upgrade that system too. These big, huge black boxes are just getting out of hand. Way out of hand. But again, we have gone through all of this information from the minute that it came out back in January of 2023. And I do believe that we went back through it like about 2 years after the fact and looked through it again when we realized that there was nothing. That this animal hair is not Murphy's, that the marshal's receipts and the nitrile gloves and all the other things literally meant nothing. There was no connections to anything. They might have shopped at some of the same stores, but never at the exact same time. They even tried to, well, they being mainstream media, tried to put Kohberger and Bethany at a store together at the same time. And while they were at the same store on the same day, it was hours and hours apart from each other, and it didn't literally mean anything. They have tried really, really hard to put connections into things that aren't there, thinking and knowing that the majority of people are not going to go in and actually look at the receipts. They're not going to look at the inventory reports. They're not going to look at interviews. They're going to listen to whatever mainstream says, because mainstream is supposed to be somebody who takes all the information and summarizes it for the media, for the public to be able to understand. But, you know, we know they lie. So many people don't get that, which is really sad. Because you think by now it'd be really obvious. If the pandemic didn't teach you, then nothing ever will. Legitimately, nothing ever will. Okay. I don't know what this ECM cassette means. What is an ECM cassette? ECM cassette? Is that a thing? Well, it looks like it's a thing. Well, this is actually kind of confusing. Well, so ECM cassette is like an old VHS. Are they putting them on a VHS? Microprocessing embedding cassettes. But see, there's also like this unit right here. So it might be something that they use to store information, I guess. I'm not really quite sure what it means. I mean, it could be something just like technology-wise that they use, but I don't know. 1423 ECM cassette. I guess I'm going to ask. Let's see. Okay, so then on 1.4 we have a DVD, and then on 1.4 we have a DNA DVD. What is Goncalves document? And who is this interview right here that seems to have a name that starts with an O on 1.523? Do we know anyone that has a short little name like that with an O? So let's see, Goncalves documents, what date? One 5/23 23 M. What's the number? 0082 item 433. I don't know what that is. Or maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It'd have to be like short right there, right? Could be or last name. Very possible. Okay, so then we have 1/5/23. What is NM autopsy photos? Because that makes me think New Mexico. And I can't think of any other initials that make sense right there. And this is again 1/5/23. We know that they did an autopsy way back in November. You really think so? Bro, if those autopsy photos are literally a part of this case, that's huge. I know that Truth and Transparency's channel and Logan have been talking about that a lot. Yeah, I know that there's a report in here that's like that discusses the stuff with Mowich, but it's crazy that in the inventory they left it in here as part of it. Okay, well then I'm gonna place this in here because I did mention in I think it was yesterday I saw Logan talking about this stuff. That I know that you guys have been like wanting to look at it over here, so I think we're gonna freaking have to. I don't think that we can just like not anymore. Like I told you guys, like I don't like going off on like crackpot theories, and some people just like make up stuff, hear things that really aren't there, and then they go ham with it, and then it causes a whole thing. And I really try not to do that. I try to keep it as factual as freaking possible. But the stuff with this guy is really weird. The stuff with this guy is really weird. And if they're going to keep his information in here, then we definitely should look at it. Like, I don't really think that we can avoid it anymore, even if it comes just to the conclusion to where I don't feel like it's related to anything on my own opinion, then whatever, at least we've gone through everything and tried to figure it out. But it definitely is freaking strange. I know like the gist of it, you know, like the small breakdown of it, but I think we really do need to go through it and see everything. Okay. That'll be wild. If that really ends up being something, you know, okay. On 1/5/23 23 0080 item what? 431. Okay. So that's on the list. See, I'm glad that we went through this because then I can get this together and see. Let me put Nicholas. Okay. So yeah, that'll be something we'll start looking into ourselves. I'll file some things and see what I can grab and what I come up with and just what we can look at together and see what happens. We'll take a look. Okay, so now we have a dog hair. I think this is the dog hair that they took from Murphy after they had this animal hair from Kohberger's apartment to compare, because we do have a report where it does say that this was compared to Murphy and that it wasn't a match. And we know that later on, it also states that in some of the court documents that came out. So that would have been like the only time that they forensically looked at Murphy, which, you know, they still should have definitely done that beforehand. So on 1/5, they did this interview with this O name, and they also took a swab from them. Who the frick is this? Interview and swab. I'll have to check the reports to see who it says they talked to on that date. So it looks like they most likely took prints from that person too. So then we have the swab from Kohberger here. Hair sample, more swabs, more swabs. So here comes the stuff from the vehicle. Seatbelt, swabs, headliner, seat back, seat cover, cushion. The Pennsylvania suspect swab. So this is where they swabbed him in Pennsylvania. Pillows, nightstand, shelf, pillows, bed frame, mattress. This would be Most likely from the house because it's multiple mattresses. The blue blanket, see, this is crazy to me. If they literally didn't take the blue blanket covering Ethan's body until the 6th. And I feel like that's what it is. I feel like this comforter right here is the pink one in Xana's room, and this blue one is the other one. And these would have been the ones that were covering Ethan's body, and they didn't even take them as part of the evidence until January. Isn't that crazy? That's wild to me. Now, I know damn well that there had to have been some other DNA on those blankets. So I'm really curious as to if they actually tested them thoroughly. I'm going to put those on the list for chain of custody information. Blue blanket item 439. And then comforter, which I'm assuming is the pink one. I'm going to actually type assuming the pink one. Item 438. Yeah, I'd like some clarity on what was done with those. So here we have the nightstand going in, and we now have a swab from someone else on the 6th after Kohberger is brought over. So who is this person? Who is this person? So I don't know. ISP 73 for which one? Oh, I see the idiot. He can go be fucktarded somewhere else. He's banned. I got him, Rocks. What is in this one? Oh, yeah? Huh. Yeah, I know that Logan got some more photos of the knives that had the duct tape on them. I did find those really interesting when we went through the reports. I think we've seen like one picture of those before, because when she pulled them up on her screen, like they didn't look not familiar. Unless I just like envisioned them like that, because it's not hard to envision what a knife looks like with silver duct tape around the handle. But they just didn't feel they didn't feel new to me. Like there was definitely new photos in there, but I feel like we've seen at least one of those before from something. And again, I could be wrong. But for Payne to just instantly be like, oh, it's not related. Like, did they not really at all bother taking those in and testing to see if there might have been any DNA under the tape or anything like that? They just deemed it eh. I mean, it really wouldn't shock me. That's how I remember reading the report. So if anything, you just see the knives, and then you go back to, let's just say alone, Ethan's wounds on his legs. There's 2 different size blades being used on Ethan's legs. You can tell from the way that the descriptions are. And those 2 knives, one's big and one's tiny. I mean, the fact that he didn't take those seriously at all. The fact he didn't take those seriously at all. Like, it's not even a joke. Yes, seriously. Because when I looked at it, I was like, those look really familiar, but I also know this is like new information, so it just felt weird. But I also really try to think in my brain, in my mind's eye or whatever, like what stuff looks like. So I feel like I've just like looked at them a little bit in my brain, reading the report. I don't think that we've actually seen photos of them before. I think I've just always thought that that's what they looked like. Okay, let's see. So then we have search warrant for audio and search warrant for photos from 1/6/23. DVD of photos, more DNA extracts and DNA cuttings, more swabs, DNA extracts. Now we have a multitude of interviews starting in January. L, M, N, T, and A. Huh. And then we have 2 interviews on the same day with this person on January 10th, 2023. M interview 2. I wonder who these people are. So let's write that in there, because so far I think all of the interviews that we've gotten are pre-Kohberger. LMNTA 464 through 468 is how I'll put those interviews. And who's this other one? M interview 2. So 461 and 462. And that was also on 9 on 110. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so let's see. We have the Artista video. Isn't that the like a business in place where they had some security video? Video and emails, audio and emails. I wonder what that is. Video and emails. Oh, I'm doing the wrong thing. Where are they at? Video and email. Audio and emails. From what? Stop squiggly lining me, damn it. I'm curious about these. 458, 459. Emails / audio. Also from 110. Okay. DVD and list, DVD and docs. Stacks receipts. What is Stacks? Is that a store? Huh. Stacks is a payment solution system. Stacks AI block coding. Stacks Records website. Payment solutions, product pricing. I don't know what this is. Is it a store maybe? Oh, Stacks is a record store too. Is there one in Idaho? Yeah. Oh, look. Oh, actually, in Moscow, Stacks is a restaurant. So this shows Stacks in Moscow does sandwiches. And it looks like there's 2 locations. This one's further down. This one is in Moscow. So they actually have him like eating at a restaurant in Moscow, and they didn't bother actually putting those receipts in there. And look how close it is to the university. That tells you that they knew that it wouldn't matter because it didn't mean shit. So they don't put in information that they actually have of him possibly being close to campus to try to prove their narrative. But they want to hold on to some mad Greek bullshit that they've already told us that he wasn't there. That makes no sense. And that's if it's even like Kohberger stuff, because it might not be Kohberger stuff, but I just feel like if it's an evidence, it's got to be geared towards that, but maybe it's not. So it's either a restaurant or a record store. Let's see what it shows in Washington. Stax Stereo, Hawthorne Stereo. Yeah, it looks like they have a tabletop game store called Stacks in Washington. So it could be a restaurant where they sell sandwiches. It could be some sort of something for a payment program, or it could be a record store. Whatever, it could be something. We don't know who it belongs to. So then we have R interview. That's a long name. Another interview with D. CK interview. MS interview. These are interesting right here. I don't know who any of these people are. And look, here's that short H name again. All the way on 112. I wonder who this person is. And then tips coming in on 112 right here. This is a long C name for an interview on 112. Then they have a running report that I guess that they printed out on 112. I wonder if they would give me that. 112:23. Running report. And these interviews right here. R, D, C, and K. So it'd be 82 through 85. 482 through 485 interviews from what date? 112:23. I don't know who those people are. Interesting. It might be another living document. I'm not sure. Hopefully we'll be able to see something from them. But then look at all these other interviews. Like, I wonder if these are people from WSU because of the dates. I mean, look at all these. S, J, and then photos from M. Interview with W, N interview, T interview, R interview, R interview, A interview, K-D interview. So I guess I'm just going to type like bundle of interviews. Bundle of interviews from... Oh my God, type 112:23. And like I said, we can just do, a couple of things at a time just to see what's going on. Corner Club receipts, we've seen those. Detective Walker interviews. Detective Walker. Detective Adams. Are these FBI? No, there's a Walker in the ISP reports, I think. I'm going to put them in here anyway. 494, 495. 494 for Walker, right? And then 495 for Adams. Or did I just get that backwards? I did get that backwards. So that one, and then 495 is Walker. Interesting. And what was the date? 113. Oh my God. All right. Okay, so then more interviews. R, M, S, R, M, M, F, A, and H. And then we have a K interview, and then Goncalves receipts. Receipts for what? So bundle of interviews from the 13th through the 17th. Interviews from 113 through 117, and then Goncalves receipts, whatever the frick that means, from 1923, item number what? 501. Okay. Let's see now. Okay. New Balance shoes, ID documents, a hat and mask. Is this stuff from his parents' house? I think this is stuff from his parents' house, possibly. It took them a while to start going through all of that, but I don't know. It might not be even his shit. It's hard to tell this way. Let's see. Black gloves, prescription. There was a prescription that they did take. I'm guessing this might be his stuff from his parents' house. Face mask, books, 3 magazines, password paper, marijuanis, documents, random documents, more marijuanis, vehicle paperwork. See, that's another thing. I really think he was rolling a joint when he got busted. Yeah, I don't think he was playing with trash. I think he was rolling a joint in the kitchen. Because he's in the kitchen and then he goes to the back balcony and he's at the back balcony at the back door for like 2 minutes, according to the paperwork that we read. And then he goes out into the garage and probably sits in his car because it's cold outside and he doesn't want to smoke out on the balcony. I feel like that's what he was doing with the baggie and the green stuff in the baggie. Like, I really don't think at all he was playing with trash so that people keep acting. I think he was rolling a joint, but that's just me. That's just me. S&W knife and vehicle paperwork, AT&T bill, a book, a knife. See, that was another thing when it came to the inventory report. They had a knife listed as the very first item on the inventory report from Pennsylvania. And that website we also have down listed in the, try to see if I have it up here. Let's see, account. Yeah, Commonwealth right here. In the description box, we also have this as one of the public documents. It looks like this right here. This is the Pennsylvania paperwork. And I'll put this link down here. In the very first item on the inventory was knife. And I was like, no, why would you do that? Knowing damn well that that's not the knife that you claim to be looking for, but you're going to put it at the very, very top of the inventory report to get people's attention, knowing that that's not what you were looking for. That's so stupid. Okay, vehicle swabs. What is with the squiggles? Jesus. Okay, vehicle swabs. C interview. Very short C name, or this could be the O name and it's cut off and we can't tell. Who is this? So 120 interview, 120-23 interview. Let's see. Okay. Miscellaneous documents, Home Depot receipts, miscellaneous Band-Aids, a phone charger, vacuum filter, gas pedal, pedal cover, fibers. Yeah, this is from the car, headset, headrest, which again, they found absolutely nothing, but it was dirty too. So the fact that they sat there and they're like, oh my God, the car was so clean. We didn't find anything. It was immaculate. Nothing in the vents, no nothing. Oh, but never mind the fact that it had Band-Aids, water bottles, Starburst, trash, and all kinds of other stuff in the car, right? It was so pristinely clean, but he had receipts in there from 2016 in the freaking glove box. Like, come on now. Come on now. Water bottles, receipts, floor mats, an orange vest, goggles, a shovel, a tire iron, a key holder, hiking boots, Circle K receipt. Now, I don't know if this is his or not, because there is a report that says that they have camera footage of Kaylee inside of what I believe is a Circle K gas station. So I don't know if that's it or if this is Kohberger's. Hotel receipt. We know him and his dad stayed at hotels on the way down and on the way back. He also stayed at a hotel for like a night or two before his apartment was ready, if I can remember correctly from the reports. Registration, insurance card, Target receipt, winter gloves, coins, plastic baggie, coins, underwear, black glove, clear glove, plastic baggie, DVD photos, Under Armour boxers, shorts, and socks, Nike shoes, WSU sweater, Arizona t-shirt, medical gloves, flashlight, trunk tools, suspect clothes. What does that mean? Suspect clothes. Like basically anything that's black would be considered the suspect's clothes because of Dylan. So to literally label anything that they took from Kohberger's parents' house as suspect clothes just because it was black is a little far of a stretch, honestly. Hyundai Elantra key, ID cards, drawings. Like Kohberger had his own drawings? Item 595. Drawings. And that's item what? I mean, what was it? What date? 1/21/23. I don't know. All right. Navy fleece, university documents, a book, notebook, his Glock that was by his bed, HP laptop, dark pants. Yeah, that's all the rest of his clothes from his parents' house. Dark pants, dark shirt, dark shirt, dark shirt, dark jacket. I mean, my entire wardrobe basically is sitting here on a freaking list. Dark jacket, Asus laptop, clear glove, phone data on the 23rd. I guess that would mean maybe something that they got forensically. I'm not sure, but we also know they're still having issues with some other phones. Brown boots, dark boots, swab, a tailor knife. Is that a brand? I don't know what a tailor knife looks like. Tailor knife. Oh. So it's just a brand. It could be any kind of knife because it's a brand. They have kitchen stuff, all kinds of different things. So it could be a sharpening thing, or it could be a knife. So it's a brand. Okay. Let's see. Dark clothing, Tangent computer, Lenovo, HP, dark clothes, a spiral notebook, a note to dad, note from dad. This is not letting me highlight the way that I would like to highlight. Looking a hot mess. Okay. Let's see. There was court documents inside of the parents' house. I wonder what those were. Medical documents, the shop vac. The Montana note is interesting just because they felt the need to take it in as evidence. I wonder if we'll ever get that. I wonder why they felt the need to take it. I'd also really like a picture of the damn book that they claim that he has like stuff highlighted in instead of it being, you know, just a guess. I'd like to know for sure. I don't think we ever found that out for sure, did we? I don't think they did. I don't think we did. Okay, WSU docs, motherboard, more miscellaneous clothing, glove and hat, black gloves, dark hats, criminology books, duh, Hyundai fob, duh. So then we have fingerprints coming in and interviews in January. CD of photos, black boots, DVD, Apple Watch. Is this Dylan's Apple Watch? I know people have been talking about her Apple Watch. Let's see. So there's more interviews in January, and man, there's going to be a bunch. There's a lot of interviews. There was a lot of interviews after his arrest. These are going to be interesting to get if we can get them. So then we have Numerica, seatbelt swab, release swab, radial dial swab, gear shift, pedal shift, paper, phone swab, licensing receipts, another interview, a G interview. Scene photos from 2/27/23. Quality and receipts. We have reports on that. We have reports on that stuff. W interview, J interview, P interview, E interview, JK interview, M interview, HC interview, JC interview. Could that be the Chapins? Hunter and Jim. A Prince and then J Prince. Allant and Johnson. Oh, look at this. 3/7/23. Dylan and Bethany interview. Did they come in and speak together? I want to know what that is. I want to know what that is. 23M 0547. Was that around the time that Butanti went and talked to her? We haven't had any information about what Butanti said was exculpatory evidence. So it'll be interesting if we finally get that information. All right, let's see. Gear knob, turn signal, Glock 40, hair and fibers, hair and fibers, hair and fibers, hair and fibers, Pullman DMV. We've seen that one. And we have also had the interview with the DMV lady herself. Stinker video. This is a gas station. I don't know if that, off the top of my head, I do not remember if that was one of the videos that we have that they're saying is like the car or whatever. So let me write that one down. Because that maybe that's the gas station Kaylee's at. I can't remember. God, it's item 666. Holy crap. Item 666. Okay. Cell contact. Is that cell contact interview? Does that just mean that like there was a cell phone contact person that they interviewed? What does that mean? Knives. DVD, MPD, and then knife on 3/21/23. What the frick? Knives and knife. Knife and knives. 3/21/23. That might be the stuff that Logan just got. DMV photo. Vehicle charts. I want their vehicle charts because we know that Hyundai was not at all part of their original list. Vehicle charts. Vehicle ID DVD. The criminology exam. Consent of search for what? In April. A letter in April. A consent letter in April. Sorority roster. B drawing and Y statement. Now, Y is, I think, probably Yessie. And I believe Accomplished Day is someone who came in and said that they tried to get Yessie's interview and that they told them that it wasn't there. It was either them or Connor. I believe it was Accomplished Day, though, that said that they tried to get that one and it's not there. But even if the initials were incorrect, like even if it wasn't Yessie's interview, the interview actually did take place because there's a report section that was technically being asked for and it was just being assumed that it was Yessie's. But they had told them that it didn't exist. So I wonder if this is Yessie's statement. But whose drawing is this? Let's see. 4/3/23. Item what? 700? 700 Y statement. And then 4/3/23. Item what? 701? 701 B drawing. I want to know what that drawing is. If that's Bethany. I wonder if that's Bethany. I'd like to know what that is. And then more consent of search. Who are they searching in April? D docs? Whose documents are these? Who is this P interview? Who is this C interview? Who is this D interview? All the way in April. Hospital checks for what? What are you looking at hospitals for in April? And look at these. ESC. There's a G or a Y right here because it hangs over. I don't know what this could be right here. And then AP, D, R, B, B, Y. G, maybe Gideon. H, D, apartment vid. What does that mean? Decor apartment vid? D, interview. AM, interview. JS, is that Jack Showalter again? CK, again, we see that name again. And then miscellaneous interviews. Just random. Like, look how much of these, look how many interviews we're going to have to look and see if we already have or not, just depending on how ISP sent the stuff over. Because this is still pre-grand jury. This is still a month before the grand jury took place. CF interview. More DMV video. But that was already there. Why do you have it again? Miscellaneous docs and interviews. S interview. PFPD hard drive. Post Falls. Pennsylvania State Police. Random hard drive. DNA extracts. Lift cards. Look at all of these interviews. I'm just going to put in here April interviews. April 2023 interviews. My gosh. Okay. All right. So then we have, and we're in April. We're still in April 2023. Disposable film, an L interview. DNA extracts, Facebook DVD, Verizon DVD, OCRI drives. OCRI, what is OCRI? OCRI. OCRI stands for something in Canada that's in French. Ortho Carolina Research Institute, OCRI. Office of Civil Rights and Investigations. From the University of Idaho itself. Office of Civil Rights and Investigations. OCRI. Okay, so then I'm going to ask for this. 5323 OCRI drives, which is the U of I official website information. And what was this item number? 717. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, so then we have P interview, A interview. EXT Instagram? I don't know what that is for. Okay. Adidas shirt, a jacket, DM note. This would be Dylan. Wanted shoes. Is that a brand? Converse shoes, Van shoes. Now we're after the grand jury. We are now in June of 2023. A curtain, a blanket, T-Mobile DVD, ISP. Prop receipt, is that when they got the knife sheath? When they like repurchased? Because I know that that's something, yeah, it has to be. Look, 613, 613, 613, the items that were purchased. So I want this information. I'm going to FOIA this information. Now, I know that Logan on Bronx Tales said earlier today that when the Goncalveses came out and said something about Amazon click history or whatever is about to come out or some shit like that, she thought that maybe they had gotten heads up on the fact that she had FOIA'd the Amazon click activity information. And I think they probably did get a heads up. Now, they denied her FOIA, saying that it was property of the FBI, but we know that they still get a heads up for stuff. They sit there and complain that they never get told anything, but then we also know that they get heads up for stuff. They're so full of shit. So I don't know if he misunderstood what was happening because they got notified that there was a FOIA and he's just like running his mouth like he always does, or if it's going to be sort of like what happened when I requested Dylan's information and they denied it for privacy. And then less than a week later, they released the information on the court website. That's when we got the bubble, all the bubble stuff. So I don't know if they're finally going to release that or not, but we've been asking for the damn Amazon receipt. Like, I don't really care about the click activity. If nothing was repurchased and like stuff was just being looked at, I don't give no shits. I really don't. I want to see the actual invoice, the receipt for the one that was purchased, because I really just wonder if it doesn't match like visually. Like, is it a different shade of brown? Is the emblem on it like different? Like, why haven't they just shown us the freaking sheath for the one that he apparently purchased on Amazon? Why is that being kept such a secret? I don't understand why it's being kept such a secret. So maybe, just maybe, since they are claiming that they ordered this straight from the listing that he did, maybe if we get this, maybe it'll do something. I don't know. But let's go ahead and write it in here. So on 6/8/23 ISP prop receipt, I remember the report because it says that Gilbertson goes up and meets with Payne in the shop where the car is being held when this stuff comes in on the 6/13. Amazon items arrive and are added to evidence. Okay. We'll see if we get that. I doubt it, but we'll see what they do. Okay. Footwear exemplars from what? For who? For who? Okay. So then we have S interview, G interview, T interview, B interview, L interview, V interview. Do we have anybody with the V name? Victoria, Victor, I don't know. DM interview, B interview, JS interview, HC interview, C interview, S interview number 2, H interview, L interview, MS interview, R interviews. And then look, oh my God, look at these. And then look on 7/5/23, King Road video added in here again. So then I'm going to FOIA item number 771. Because obviously that's going to be a completely different version, is it not? Shouldn't that be a different version than the one that we originally got? So we've got all these interviews right here, all the way in June, all the way after the grand jury. R, S, G, W, J, M, 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 all of these. Oh my God, there's so many. So June bundle of interviews. June 2023. Holy shit, there's so many. And what did I just say? What else did we just look at? This, item 771. I'm going to make it like big. King Road video 23M. Yeah, I'm about to go get the other number. 1171. So what's the other one? Because it's on the 19th. Let me see the number for that one. Right here. Oh, yeah, it's different. Okay. Previously requested to 2061 item 243. It's different. They're going to have to give me this one because it's different. It's not the same. Okay, I made it bigger on the page. So that'll be interesting to see if it's different. because we know damn well they're lying to us about that freaking audio. And we know that there's multiple copies. Just before, even before we got the most recent, like, let's just say the past like 6 months worth of documents, even before that, when I went through the chain of custody and looked at all the different versions of stuff, there's at least, before all of that, meaning there's more copies of it now. There was at least 8 different versions when we were fighting this bullshit back at the end of 2025 from everything that we had seen at that point. 8. The video's out there. The entire thing is out there. And now with the newer information, we're going to have to go back through it and add to it. But we know that there's multiple copies of this freaking footage out there. And we know that they're lying to us about there being no audio. We literally have the proof that there is audio for that time frame. So it'll be interesting to see if item 771 is so much different than the other one. I bet you it is. We'll see. But it's going to suck too, because if it truly is a different version, then they're going to try to get redaction money from it all over again. So maybe I'll only request 1255 to 230 for that one. Because I'm not giving them another $1,500. No. It's just not happening. Okay. Amazon DVD, Facebook DVD, Walmart sales, M interview, D on the phone, welcome home video. The frick is that? Indian Hills video, West Palouse video. What's Rosars? Rossars? I don't know what you are. Is that like a worker? I mean, like an employee? I don't know who that is. Right here. Rosars USB. I don't know what that means. Let's see. Pullman Mobile, vape shop video, real life video. See, this real life thing is the memorial that's on YouTube from Real Life Ministries. I wonder why that's in here. Vape shop video. I wonder if they went and pulled the vape shop video. Remember the guy that came out and did a mainstream media interview and said that the girls had walked in there and had like talked about having a stalker? I wonder if they went and got that and for some reason added it in all the way in July. I wonder if that's what that is. Palouse property, Cactus Computer. Must be a repair shop. Identity video. What the hell does that mean? After image video. What does that mean? We know what Floyd's is, and it's not Kohberger's car on the Floyd camera, because the Floyd camera shows a car with what? With what? Fog lights. So what are these? Identity video, after image video. Identity video. Video. I don't know what that is. All right, let's see. Breakfast Club. Like the movie? There's also a John Cusack movie called Identity, and there's a Breakfast Club movie. So what is that? Anytime Fitness, I'm guessing, is camera footage. These must just be, is there a Breakfast Club restaurant? No. NRS and Spence Vid. I don't know what that is. Blank B video. Ridge Road video. G House video. SEL video. Pullman Mobile. Target video. Tri-State USBs. Gritman USB. Winco USB. Pullman Walmart. Mr. Windshield video. Mr. Windshield. Mr. Windshield. What is that? I mean, obviously it's a business. In Michigan? So I type in just Mr. Windshield. Is it MI Michigan? Or is it Missouri? Is it Michigan or Missouri? Missouri's O. Michigan. Did he have to stop there like on the way? Mr. Windshield. I want to know what this is now. Mr. Windshield video. Item number what? 805. Interesting. Interesting. S Family HD. Nom Nom HD. KAT video. LCU and Co-op. Indian Hills video. US Chef USB. Alterus USB. Hill Rental video. Corner Club USB, Gypsy Java. These are places I think in, and then Stacks. So these are businesses right here. Cannon Press, Taj, Moscow Bagel, Inland Cell, Pullman DMV again, multiple videos, Sunset Mart Drives, Winco DVDs, Stinker again, Nom Nom. Hayden Walmart is where Kaylee, McDonald's video. Hayden Walmart is the Walmart where Kaylee met up with the guy in the car to do the car. Item 783. I wonder what McDonald's is about. I'm gonna put that in parentheses. Okay. Let's see. Cafe Arista, yeah, that's back in Moscow. Winco, Harbor Freight, Chevron, Exxon, Stinker. Again, these are just like gas stations. Walgreens, Happy Day, MBS, Elantra plate data. Okay, but his plate was new, and you guys knew that, and you know why it was new too, but okay. Palouse prop vehicle, Palouse prop DVD. Is this like when they tried to rerun some stuff? Prop vehicle? Palouse prop vehicle. And DVD. That's weird. 26, 23. Okay. PayPal data, soil kit, jail calls. See, we've tried to get jail calls and they won't let us have them. I'll try again. Let's see. Suspect iCloud data, YouTube data. See, I would like the full YouTube data because when Celebrate gave us the YouTube data, they had 5 filters activated. You could see at the very top corner. Up at the very top corner, you could see they had 5 different filters. So we really don't know like what they were looking for, really. Or I mean, like, you know, what they filtered out. Jail calls. 1. I know they're not going to give them to me. I've already tried once. Item 840. Pullman Road Nom Nom, YouTube data, suspect iCloud data, TikTok data, OneDrive data, item number 846, Othram DNA kit. Bet you that's Othram DNA kit, which I don't know why in the frick they would have that closed off if that's Othram. You know? I wonder if they'll give me any information regarding that part. What date was that? 9/5/23. Damn. Oh, shit. Pressing all kinds of damn buttons. Hold on. Item what? 846. Now, I also am questioning why they need Xana's old phone data here. And then, is this Ethan's cell data that they are blocking out right here? Blocking out his name? Is that what they just did with that? What does her old phone data have to do with anything? Xana's old phone data. And why are they blocking Ethan's name? Xana's old phone data. I don't know why that matters. Interesting. I know they're not going to give it to us because unlike what Christy Gonsalves thinks, they don't just willy-nilly give you everything on someone's cell phone. Crazy ass woman. Jesus Christ. Vehicle photos, blank doctor photos. Is this from when Kohberger went to the doctor? Vehicle ×2 photos, vehicle photos, search warrant photos, DNA. Oh my God, look at here. King Road again. A whole nother item. King Road videos. Item number 856. Here we go with bold and underlined. And what was it now? Item what? Item 856. And notice it says King Road videos with an S. Now we do know that there were several different 5-minute segments that they ended up putting together. 23M. What was it? 1794. 1030. 23. So we'll see what they do because now that's a second. That's the second one. Besides the one that we've already requested. Interesting. I'm glad we're going through this. Go back that way. Okay. Man, this is already like 4 pages almost. Jesus. Okay. Another interview right here. I have no idea. Camera repair. That's for the camera that they messed up. That's the home nest camera. Trace material from a mat and trace material from a seat. Sample cutting. Dog impound form. We have that. That's a pink form that we got from MPD. .3D scans. Instagram DVD interview P. Dylan Celebrite information. Look right here. 11124. DM Celebrite. Now here we have the Kohberger interviews. We cannot get these. Put a different color. We cannot have these. The FBI are the people who interviewed the Kohbergers, and we are not allowed to have them because MPD doesn't have them in possession, and MPD never spoke to them at all. Literally at all. Now, I will put it on the list because we can try one more time. 6, 7, 6, 7, 6, 8, and 6, 9. 8, 6, 7. 8 and 9. Kohberger interviews. But yeah, we've asked for these. We've been told they don't belong with MPD. FBI won't do shit with it. I don't know. Interesting that Dylan has her own Celebrite thing though. Coming in. Screenshots of emails. I would love to know what that is because there's like nothing right there. X-rays. Okay, so then we have BK jail calls and mail. And again, I've tried before. I'll try again. But they're basically blocking his jail calls and stuff for the same privacy reasons as they are for the victim's cell phones and stuff like that. BK jail calls / mail. And it is 874 and 873. If my damn fingernails don't stop pressing another damn button. What date was that? Two different dates. So the mail is on 3/7. And the calls are 3/21/23. Okay. Fingerprint copies. This is probably Kai Davis's interview. We know that he didn't get talked to for like a while. MPD emails. Blank video audio. SMP profile item 881. I wonder if they'll give it to me. Probably not. Item 881. DNA trace profile. I doubt it. But it's still crazy how this, like, that should have been like more towards the top of this, honestly. Now, what is this? T map and T interview. What is this? It's all the way in 24M 0639 and 0640. A map and an interview? That's kind of weird. What date was that? 5/2/24. Jesus, a year after the grand jury. I wonder what that is. Maybe the soil stuff? Oh, yeah. Trace mineralogy. All right. I answered my own question. It's for the dirt. That didn't come back to anything special. That's for the dirt. Okay. MPD emails, Instagram data, Gamma Pi Beta, news emails, RCFL analyzer. What is that? RCFL. Analyzer. RCF 3D analysis, RCF algorithm. What about RCFL? What we're looking for here. Okay, Regional Computer Forensic Laboratory. This. RCFL. Does that mean that they had somebody else working on stuff too? Item 896. RCFL. Is it like a report that they did? Maybe that's a report. 896. RCFL analyzer. I don't know. Guess we'll figure it out. Selected results. What does that mean? Gray key extracts, RDFL vehicle data, RCFL findings, RCFL HDD. So they have RCFL and RDFL? DNA extracts. It must just be car stuff. CastViz DVD right here. Item 897. I wonder if they'll give it to me. Item 897. CastViz. Somebody's exemplars right here. MPD email, FBI TUI request. I remember that situation. Additional exemplars, BK laptop, hard drive, phone. And even with all of these damn 40 plus devices, nothing. Hard drive 1, 2, and 3, HJ exemplars, person of interest USB. Stop the squiggles. Is that what that means? No. PIO. Person. No. Unless it's backwards and it's supposed to be POI. PIO USB. Well, PIO is a thing. I typed in PIO USB and a WaveShare card interface video pops up. Oh, it's a thing. Pico PIO USB, USB PIO, Proton Camera Innovations, PIO USB. So it's a thing. Like an actual thing, whatever it is, it's a thing. OneDrive, hard drive, and then another thing of calls. And then B data and F's fingerprints. PPD info 2, probably Pullman Police Department. G screenshots, F fingerprints 2, DNA extracts, DIG fingerprints. What the frick does that mean? What does dig fingerprints mean? That's weird. Jail calls this item 912. I'm just going to add it to this one up here. And item 912 from what date? 8/7/24. 8/7/24. Okay, let's see. Another interview, interview, supplements again. We know that they bought them again. DVD vitamin bottle, USB interviews, blank D prints, grand jury exhibits. I wonder if they would let us see that stuff. Probably not. Cartman 3 triangles. We saw that it's like stuff to put on the ground for in case you have to be off to the side of the road. Yo, look, Chevy Cruze right there. There it is right there. Scissor jack, tire repair kit, additional Amazon items. That's from his vehicle. So I don't know why they cut it like this. This is weird, but here's like the initiating call. And then we have the vehicles all right here. And then we have the charges. Murder, burglary, and then we have everyone's names right here, victims' names, a lot of other people's names that were, it says involved, but it's like they were talked to, they were around. There are some initials in here that I'm not really quite sure who they are. I'd like to go back in because like off the top of my head, the initials DS don't ring a bell. And this is like first name D, there's their middle name, and then the last name is S. I'm not sure who the hell that is. I'm not sure who the hell that is. And there's quite a few of them. Like this is most likely Jack Ducour. But like I don't know who the frick DS is. So there's a few people right here. On top of the ones that we do know. Now, again, we saw these being considered related to this little situation. I went in today and formally requested those via FOIA. Let me see, where is it at? So I emailed what's his face today, and I put this FOIA in today. Let me sign in. Okay, so this one went in today, and I put, it has come to the public's attention that there are 4 additional cases listed as related on the MPD narrative release in the public drop of police records on the Moscow Police website. These are on page 2, which I have attached a shortened version of this narrative to this request as reference and are listed as follows. And these are all of them right here that are right here. We have on 11/21/22, there was a welfare check. There was an accident non-injury on February 7th, 2023, a burglary on 6/21/23, which is not the same situation as the knife incident that took place in 2021 that the girl at the school lied to the police about to try to put Kohberger in the area when there wasn't an event that would have brought him there. So I don't know what burglary after the fact this would be about. No idea. And then a threatening incident considering related on July 12th, 2023. Again, I have no idea. No clue, but we've gone ahead and asked for the information. I don't know. There might be other channels that have already done this. No idea. I haven't seen anything, so we're going to see what they say. And so I put them all in a list, and I said, I am formally requesting any police reports, witness statements, emails, or any other related communications associated with these cases that are deemed related to the 11/22 King Road homicides, including investigations into how and why they are deemed related. If these are better submitted in separate requests, please let me know. And I attached 3 pages, the very first page, the second page where this is actually listed, and then the very bottom one that shows when this was actually like filled out and has the date and stuff on it. So we'll see what they say. Now, I honestly don't know why, and I've mentioned this before, I don't know why they keep blocking out Tim Smaldridge's name. because he's in the evidence room. He's in the evidence room. So I don't know why they keep blocking out his name. And this CM person right here, I'm pretty positive this is the CM person that was supposed to bring the knife sheath back to MPD on like Friday the 13th in December 13th, 2022. This doesn't look like it would be for the person who is the McKenna person, because this is not McKenna. This is too short to be McKenna. So I think this is that person. I'm not quite positive, but also notice the name missing that we looked at earlier and weren't sure. I was not sure who the frick they were. What was the name? Casey Green. Notice that Casey Green is on the list for people that showed up and was the 12th apparently on scene. But if you look through the subpoenas, his name is not in here, at least as far as I can tell. We've got a subpoena for Corbin Smith, Dustin Blaker, James Fry, Mitch Nunes, Jason House, Eric Warner, Ryan Snyder, Justin Dean, Aaron Morris, Nate Rosendahl, Jacob Tesdahl, Shane Gunderson, Brett Payne, Lawrence Mowry, Captain Blaker, Detective Mowry, which is the same person, by the way. Same person. And also, by the way, the only difference is that by the time this would have actually gone to trial, he would have no longer been Detective Mowry. I mean Corporal Payne, because he was working for the prosecutor's office. So they have multiple subpoenas in here for different dates, I guess, from whenever they had to come in and talk about stuff. But they also have them under different designations, which is funny. Then we have Nate Rosendahl again, Mitch Nunes again, Roger Lanier, Jonathan Rosinski, Jordan Welch, Eric Warner, Dustin Blaker, Danny Vargas, Corbin Smith, Brett Payne again, Anthony Dollinger. Andrew Fox is who actually put those 5-minute segments together. He is the person who stitched them together, meaning that when we're looking at the 11-12 cameras, and you know how there's segments where when the 5 minutes are like when 5 minutes is over and the next 5 minutes starts and it comes together, there's like a weird sound. And then like the first like 3 or 4 seconds goes like really, really fast. And then it goes back to normal. Andrew Fox is responsible for that, in my opinion, because he's the one who put the pieces together. He's the one who stitched them together. So however he stitched them together caused that little issue. Aaron Morris, Jacob Tesdahl, and then Shane Gunderson. The Casey Green guy that is showing up as 12th on the list to have been at the scene is not showing up under the subpoenas. So I'm really kind of wondering, I know somebody said OG cop or whatever, but like, where is his subpoena if he was on scene? And where is any report that he read? That's why I'm really curious as to if maybe he's the little rookie that didn't actually make it through whatever was going on, that actually talked to that ATF impersonator. I wonder if that's him. I'm sure going to try to figure it out. I am sure going to try to figure it out. All right, you guys. So that is it for the review of that. I want to keep the way that I have this highlighted. Let me keep this real quick like this. Hold on. Save. Yeah, I don't really need to print it. I just want to save it. And then save as all the things. Okay. So I'm going to put the one that I have all highlighted in the folder, the Moscow Monday folder. But this right here is all of the little notes that I just took. So I'll put this in there too. Let's see, can I make this bigger? I don't think I can. Can I? Can I make this bigger? I don't know how to work this page. I thought I could make this bigger. Can I just do it like this? I guess. Yeah. So these are all the little notes that we just took from this little inventory thing. So I'm going to go in and add this to the Moscow Monday folder for today. Let me go ahead and get that open so I don't forget. So now I can go back in and reference the things that we talked about going in and checking. And what is this? 3 pages? 4 pages? 3 pages? 3 pages. 3 pages. And remember, there's like shit tons of interviews in here that all have their own little separate labels, own little separate lines in the inventory report that I just bundled up in here as June bundled interviews or April 2023 interviews. So yeah, one request, I guess, a week with like a couple of different things on it, unless they want me to do separate requests, because I don't know. I don't normally send in bulk requests. I normally send in for one item at a time so that they can't pretend like they're confused, because we know they like to play that stupid little game. So I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it yet. I'll probably do it individually because I already know the kind of bullshit that they try to play. Like these top 3, I'll probably just go ahead and submit like in the morning. And we'll just wait and see what they do. And then after we get a response, we'll drop like 3 more and we'll just see what they do. I guess I just didn't really realize like how many interviews they were going to be after Kohberger's arrest. You know what I mean? Because everything that we've gotten so far is pre-arrest. There, every single interview that Connor, that me, Truth and Transparency, anybody has gotten has been from before the arrest. So it's going to be interesting to see anything afterwards. Anything afterwards. Okay. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for being in here for the first episode of Moscow Mondays. Like I said, we are going to go live every Monday to go over these reports thoroughly to see what we missed, what we haven't seen yet in way of evidence that has already come out versus what we haven't seen and need to maybe request and look at. And on the Mondays where we do our members only Mondays, our members only Monday live at the end of the month, the last Monday of the month, I will just run the members only live earlier in the day, like in the 3 o'clock hour or so. And then continue on with our normal programming. Now, the only time that we won't do a Moscow Monday is if some new information comes out on Monday before our scheduled time, and then we'll just push it back. I don't think Mondays are really a big action day normally with stuff. It's usually like Thursday or Friday. They like to drop information, sometimes on Wednesday, normally Friday. So I don't really think it'll be in the way. But again, I appreciate you guys coming in there. Hey there, Miller time. It's time to FOIA the prosecutor's office. See, that's what I need. I need to figure out how. Because look, let me show you all the website. Latah County prosecutor's office. Let me show you all the website. Because like there's really nothing like on here that tells you that you can like the way that you do. You know what I mean? Okay, so you click on Latah County, like the prosecutor. See, and there's like departments for like the clerk and the recorder and stuff. So I guess maybe through the clerk. Because if they're trying to tell me that MPD doesn't have, and see, I'd like to get the full-on coroner report that they have. Like I know that something had come out before. Copies of reports. Yeah, I'm going to file some of this stuff tomorrow to get like our own stuff from the coroner. See how it has like different things you can do. I'm going to go ahead and do some of that tomorrow. But let's see. Auditor, clerk, reporter. I guess maybe. See, this is Julie Fry. This is Chief Fry's wife. But see, okay, so if you do public records request form, it's going to do the same thing. Okay, yeah, see, this is different. This is Latah County. This doesn't give you... See, Latah County, I had to call them the other day and be like, how exactly do you want me to submit this paper for this request? Because you don't have anything like right there on it. Yeah, I'm going to look at this more tomorrow. Because I definitely want to see if we can get the timeline from them since MPD is saying that they don't have it. Yeah, I'm going to see if I can actually, I'm just going to call them. and see, because I know there's stuff that the defense office has too that I would like to get and see if maybe we could FOIA that from them. My issue is them denying stuff for work product. I love how they still haven't removed this. The Latah County Prosecutor's Office does not have its own investigators. Rather, we rely on law enforcement agencies to take complaints/reports and conduct the investigations. Then they create an entire position for Brett Payne called Prosecutor's Investigator. Crazy ass shit. Thanks for the 5 accomplished day. The McDonald's entry is for the surveillance to see if Mason Barstow and Connor Chestnut actually went there on 11/13 after the... Oh, I remember that report. I remember that report. Okay, good to know. Thank you for the 5. I'm gonna let me put that on the page because I wrote down the McDonald's thing. Where is it at? McDonald's. So you said this was because he did say they went to go get food, and it did sound like in the interview that he was saying that it was him and Connor. You're right. I did catch on to that when we played the when we went over the interview. So that's definitely a separate entity to Hayden Walmart. So let me separate that out. Okay. Yeah, that's good to know. I remember that. I remember him saying that. I remember him saying that. So yeah, there's a lot on here. There's a lot on here. This is actually what I'm gonna I guess try to do first, really. Because I feel like this is the most important because of their games that they're playing. Is I guess to file a FOIA and make it very well known that I'm aware that there's multiple, which they already know because I've already told them, you know, from the jump. I'm aware that there was at least 8 at the time that I originally wrote them arguing about what was happening with this. But I'm definitely going to just give them these other 2 item numbers and be like, come on, y'all need to give us our audio that we paid for. So go to these other ones and see if it's there because you've already proven to me that there's audio for there. So go find it. But that's what I said about, I don't know why they keep hiding Tim Smuldridge's name because he still currently works for the Moscow Police Department. Him and Amber had to get together to find the King Road footage to begin with because the original, like the other sections were not in the same folder as that little public packet or whatever they put together for the, what was it, 3:30 to 4:30 or some shit. All the other pieces were in different folders. So they had to go around and look for them, you know, because they're so freaking disorganized. Did we see Jack in the Box Molly? You know what? No, there was no freaking Jack in the Box video. Holy shit. So they never even verified anything with her? There sure was no Jack in the Box video. Now, I also know that in the self-authenticating records, there wasn't any Jack in the Box video either. Let me pull that paper back up. And I'm going to put that on that paper real quick before I add it to the folder to ask. I'm just going to FOIA Jack in the Box videos. Jack in the Box surveillance from that night. And I know like the location, there's only the one in Pullman. That's interesting. I didn't even like think about that. Yeah. There's literally like no reason at all for there not to be Jack in the Box video. Because why else, like, you should definitely be trying to see if what this chick is telling you is accurate. Because she literally says she had a friend waiting for her in the parking lot, like a whole situation. Yeah. I'm going to see. Oh, man. Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and jump off of here. Thank you so much for y'all coming in here and spending 3 hours with me going over this one. But again, we got a lot of information, 3 pages worth of stuff that we need to go over. So I'm glad that we are deciding to go through, because there was some stuff that I've just completely forgotten about. Thank you again for the gifted memberships. I very much appreciate you guys, and the super sticker. I appreciate that. We will be back at it again next Monday. Again, tomorrow I'll be dropping part 6 of the deep dive into Dylan's 11/17/22 interview. There will probably be another just posting later on in the evening tomorrow. We might go live, though. It just all depends on what time we get done with everything and get back in the house. But for sure, that one will post in the morning. That's really as far as I can go for concreteness at this point in time. But again, thank you so much for coming in here and spending the last few hours with me. I appreciate you guys so very much. We've got a lot to do. We've got a lot to FOIA, a lot to look at, hopefully, and not a lot of denials, but we already know how this is going to go. Best we can do is try. All we can do is try. You guys have a super, super great night. I very much appreciate you guys being in here with me. Again, let me go ahead and make sure that this is set correctly. Whew. Okay, you guys. See y'all. If you like the way that I present this information and give my opinion, please don't forget to leave a like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already. And please don't forget to make sure that the notification bell is set to all so you don't miss any of my rants, reviews, reactions, updates, or deep dives.